Dime qué tú quieres, papi. ¿Quieres que lo mueva para ti? Mueve, mueve. ¿Te gusta cuando me muevo así? Así.
Thank you, God, for this day. We have lived everything in our life, our health, our family, the guidance you have given us, allow us guidance to the path of righteousness. Amen.
Really, I'ma get that bitch. Revenge is a dish best served cold. She took my son, now my soul is cold. He took my daddy, now my soul is old.
Doing what we do 3 to 4 nights a week. King Chaka ENT. From the
She
back
starts
seat.
shooting.
Ow!
That dude was like, ow.
What was that?
Outside the car,
That nigga
deputies'
got
body
popped.
cameras capturing the bullets flying through the air.
We got shots fired
couldn't
up
have been
here.
a straight
We need
shot. It had
backup
to be-
immediately. Start
Are you-
EMS. Start EMS.
What
We got
the
a
fuck?
civilian. We got a civilian hit.
The deputy.
Looks like we got us another hit.
Yeah, man.
That's hot shit right there, man.
So what we gonna do? We gonna dub?
King Chaka ENT. Y'all can check out the music on Spotify, Apple, and other services. This is copyright.gov, U.S. Copyright Office. More information on fair use. Fair use is a legal doctrine that promotes freedom of expression by permitting the unlicensed use of copyright-protected works in certain circumstances. Section 107 of the Copyright Act provides the statutory framework for determining whether something is a fair use and identifies certain types of uses such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research as examples of activities that may qualify as fair use. Section 107 calls for consideration of the following 4 factors in evaluating a question of fair use: purpose and character of the use, including whether the use of the commercial nature or is for nonprofit educational purposes, nature of the copyrighted work, amount and substantiality of the portion used in relation to the copyrighted work as a whole, effect of the use upon the potential market for or value of the copyrighted work. Okay, so anything I use for you guys, hit me up if you want me to remove it, edit it, or whatever. Nothing is used to infringe on anybody's intellectual property. I don't intend on doing that, and I don't intend on profiting from anyone's intellectual property. So I'm glad to edit or delete anything that's any of my videos that I've used of anybody. So that's it. Hey, how y'all doing out there? How y'all feel? Remember, an educated public cannot be controlled. Learn to be active. The views and events expressed here are totally whack and are not necessarily the views of anyone. So, Christ Energy. We talked about Christ Energy a bit in the other show, but I kind of wanted to talk about it some more. It's like, it's the idea of righteousness is not the right word, because righteousness kind of depends on someone's opinion or point of view or perspective. And this is not like that. It's more like the fire, how the fire burns, and how it flows, the justice in it or whatever, the fairness of it. that's more of what it's like. It's more of like, a person doesn't have to be religious or even had been introduced to any kind of, like, say, spiritual teachings whatsoever, and can embody this energy, because they can feel it. And it's like what they know is right, what they know they should do, in a situation. Whenever anything comes across, anything that happens, they know what's right. They know what they should do. They know they have power. They know that they can make a difference. They know that their life matters, They know that they have strength. They truly believe in themselves. They believe in God. They believe in the universe. They believe in, basically the laws of the universe, how the stuff that can't be broken, the stuff that can't be bent, acknowledging it for what it is and doing what you know is right. That's that's exhibiting the Christ energy, and that's when we talk about that. And I think a lot of people get confused, that's the reason why I like to try to explain it more. And like I say, it's totally okay, because people can find Christ energy through religion, but it won't just be Christianity. They can find Christ energy through atheism. They can, because the energy don't care. It's not looking at it through a lens of perspective of what is my dogma or whatever. It's something that flows through you. It's something that guides you. It's something that tells you what's right and what's good and what you should do. It's how you protect yourself too. People talk about, like, walking the path, walking the path, being righteous, and how that protects you. It's like God protects you when you walk in the path. And that's another one that I think people don't really understand, because, when you think about it in practical terms, it's like if you out there in the streets and you dealing with gangsters and killers and robbers and thieves or whatever all the time, and something happens to you where you get robbed or killed or whatever, taken advantage of, abused. And then it's not surprising, right? As a result, right? Because of the crowd that you're running with, the path that you're taking, right? So, but then when you're that guy who doesn't deal with a bunch of drama and doesn't, like, disrespect people, doesn't go out of his way to do, like, foolish nonsense, this guy is more walking on the path that, and he's protected because he's not in the mess. He's not in the mix. He would be considered a what's the term? A civilian. He's a civilian. You know what I'm saying? He's not in the field. The people gonna be like, nah, that's a civilian. You out there in the thick of it, then you one of the G's, so you can get it. It's within the rules. So that's what it is, And so when you walk the path, you are protected. You're protected because you are not in the mix of things. That guy that does right by people all the time is much less likely for some random person. And, they talk about crime. They talk about crime going up, and that's like in the politics heavy right now. That's what they selling right now. So, but when you look at the trends of the crime, actually, it's all been going down. It's trending down year after year after year. The little spikes are kind of like month to month, or maybe like a year to year. Maybe it spiked over last year or whatever. But the overall trend is that crime is trending down all across the nation. But they put it on the news and tell you that it's not, And it's funny that it's surprising to me that the crime is trending down, because how much of a pinch they putting on people, and people still not really acting out. The stuff that you see that they're broadcasting in the media is totally exaggerated. Most people are just chill, and that's what it is. It's just like the perceptions that they give everyone of others The others, they're dangerous. You know, the others, they're dangerous. They're wasteful. They're lazy or whatever. They're going to hurt you. They're going to steal something from you. They're going to violate you in some kind of way. They're going to rob you. But that's not necessarily true. And it's like the people that you meet, like almost everybody you meet is chill. Like every now and then there's someone that's kind of extra, but those are few and far between, you know. But we forget about that because we don't look at the practical side of it. And that's what I'm trying to get people to see related to like the Christ energy. Seeing it for real in your real life, you know, because you got people, lots of people walking around who is exhibiting this. But you want to put this only in like one person or one being or one, you know, but then God is the universe. God is everything. God works through all of us, and, you know, and that makes sense when we say that, but then you can't acknowledge when it's right in front of your face and actually manifesting, you know, because God works. The miracles are real, but they're not supernatural. Nothing happens outside of nature. So it's all going to be a natural way that things happen. It's going to look unmiraculous when you just looking at it, but you're not really seeing what it is and how miraculous it is and how it actually really is a miracle and amazing, you know. But you don't see that because you just see it from the surface and it just looks normal and lame and boring. You know, it's crazy how that is. The most spectacular stuff that's going on, most people would call it boring, unmiraculous. They're not aware enough. Their perspective isn't wide enough for them to be able to witness the miracles. Anyways, moving on. I need to catch my breath anyways. Kind of hot. They're still on Kanye's head. These posts keep coming up. It says Kanye West has disturbing history of admiring Hitler, sources tell CNN. 50 Cent posted this. He said, I have never seen anything like this before. I think Kanye should buy the car he likes the best and just ride off into the sunset. It's really a wrap. People are really hurt by this shit. I've seen people in this position because of things they have did, not things they have said. Now you gotta master the art of shutting the fuck up. He says, no, you're gonna make everybody hot. Go cool off. 50 be keeping it 100 all the time. That's one thing that's true. Like whether this is true or not, it doesn't matter. It's posted by CNN. That's what he's saying. He said, you know, I like it. He's been making those posts talking about go cool off. It's like, just chill out for a bit. It might be the best move for Kanye right now. And freaking build his stuff by himself. Don't even tell nobody what he's doing. And then just out. Show up. Anyways. 50. Freaking, it's a whole drama thing going on between Khan's TV and Talib Kweli. I'm trying to not to talk about it, but these dudes are really going at it on Instagram and shit. The dude posted the other dude's wife and like ex-wife and stuff. Like they really getting personal and shit.
You know how long I know Kanye West? 20 years exactly. Kanye West that's my nigga. That's gonna be my nigga. I don't care any different. That's my nigga. See, one thing about me, I'm from Queens, and we gonna always keep it right. We always gonna keep it right. We ain't gonna play no games with nobody. We gonna keep it right. If I tell you I love you forever, nigga. If I tell you, you know what I mean? If we bros, I love you forever, nigga. That doesn't mean I don't have my own self-respect. Nobody's gonna challenge me about me. I'm a man. My spine is intact. You know what I'm saying? I stand with Ye when nobody is stand with him. I'm still with Ye when nobody's still with him. I still wonder when nobody thought that producer rapping shit was gonna work. It was me. It was me, 100%. In New York, it was me. Like I said when the documentary came out, it was me. When the Philly niggas was pressing that nigga, it was me around, 100%. I'm gonna definitely never front on me. It was me, nigga. Just like it's me right now. Just like it's me right now. You know what I mean? Who else got anything to say? Everybody else is on quiet. Ain't it? You ask anybody else that was signed on? Is they repping? Let's be real. Where everybody else at? Where's everybody else at? And I'm the only person that got to check with Ye? Huh?
It's really kind of a long story, but it's like Talib Kweli was kind of going in about Kanye after the interviews and stuff, making posts. He's kind of a big presence online. And Khan's TV started going in on Talib Kweli, you know, like, get off of my boy Kanye, you know, and then it turned into a whole thing between the two of them, and they've been going back and forth for the past 2 days or so. I don't know. It might seem like nothing. I guess it's nothing, but both of them have been in they're kind of big wigs in the music scene. Well, in the past they were, definitely. And I don't know. It's just not a good look, I would say, for the community to be battling like that, you know? And two grown-ass men fucking, I don't know. The internet is a mess. It's a whole thing, man. It's so crazy the way the world is now. People have these internet beefs behind some shit they posted, and somebody made a comment, and then it really turns into a real thing because it just keeps going. Start posting stuff about the dude's wife, saying personal stuff about the people because they know each other. Yeah, that shit is not cool. It's not a good look for the community, I would say. I can't play the Daily Show. Dr. Oz was talking. There's a clip. I have a clip from the debate. And they was talking about abortion and shit. Okay, let's go to it. Oh. Pressing too many buttons. Let me see. Oh yeah, this shit was tripping just like last time. I don't know why it's doing that. They must have updated this shit and made it different. Kanye. What was the one I mentioned? Fuck, I done forgot. I'm gonna need to call Pat, get him in here. Oh man, the story I'm looking for is probably gone. Is it gone? That's funny right there. Recall. Hold on, y'all. Oh man, I don't think it's here. It says Lamisha Kana officially cut ties with Kanye. Wait, I can't go back. Damn. Oh, let's see this.
Back to the hood.
I've been around the hood before.
Okay.
Didn't much like it. I was passing through. I made a wrong turn coming down here and went through Memphis, Africa.
Would you ever go to Africa?
For what?
To see all the great blacks. If it was up to you, would you want all black people gone?
I wouldn't want to be around them.
What if I want to bring you back to the hood?
I've been around the hood before.
Okay.
Didn't much like it. I was passing through. I made a wrong turn coming down here and went through Memphis, Africa.
Would you ever go to Africa?
For what?
To see all the great blacks. If it was up to you, would you want all black people gone?
I wouldn't want to be around them.
What if I want to bring you back to the hood?
I've been around the hood before.
Okay.
Didn't much like it. I was passing through. I made a wrong turn coming down here and went through Memphis, Africa.
Memphis, Africa. Okay. That's I see what you did there. What's his name? Be killing me too. I ain't gonna lie. I don't agree with half the stuff he be saying, but he's funny sometimes.
Come outside this. Oh, fuck. Shit. Ma! Ma, come outside. There's a fucking moose or a buffalo or some shit. They're fighting. Where the fuck are you going? Ma! Oh, shit. This is some fucking National Geographic shit. Ma, call a fucking cops or the ASPCA. There's animals fighting in the front lawn. Oh, shit. Oh, fuck. Shit. Ma!
I don't know why that's funny to me. I like any of those damn animal voiceovers, like what's his name? The best one that does it? Freaking Tony. I can't think of his name right now. Tony Baker.
Voluntary recall on nearly 20 dry shampoo aerosol products. Unilever, which makes the products under the brand name Dove, Nexus, Suave, and Tresemme, say they may contain elevated levels of benzene, which is known to cause cancer. Customers are urged to stop using the products and go to Unilever's website for reimbursement instructions. There's a nationwide voluntary recall on nearly 20 dry shampoo aerosol products. Unilever, which makes the products under the brand name Dove, Nexus, Suave, and Tresemme, say they may contain elevated levels of benzene, which is known to cause cancer.
That shit, man. When I hear that, I can't help but to think about stuff. Like, it seems like a lot of Black people use those products. And I heard Pine Sol, that they said they had a recall on the Pine Sol. A whole bunch of Pine Sols. Same thing, cancer-causing products or freaking, what did it say? It was sanitary issues, something. Freaking, what the hell, man? What the hell, man? And when people talk about how the products in other countries aren't the same as they are here in the States, people be like, meh, whatever. Wait a minute, no. How come these other countries won't allow this same stuff in their products and shit? But in the United States, it's okay. And the people are like, meh. They're always recalling something. This is interesting.
The lowest crime rates in the world. So today I'm leaving my laptop at a random Starbucks for 1 hour, not telling anyone to watch it, and then I'm gonna go somewhere to have lunch.
Singapore has pretty much learned how to eliminate crime.
Singapore had 250 days in a row without common types of crime.
That means nobody got their phone stolen for more than 8 months in the whole country. So now that I got my drink, I'm gonna go get lunch.
After leaving my laptop at the Starbucks, I go to a mall nearby and walk around to try and find lunch. There are 3 reasons for such crazy low crime rates. Number 1, honesty and fairness is a big part of the culture here. Number 2, basic needs are met. So people don't feel like they need to resort to crime. Its economy and government programs make it so most people here live pretty well. You will never see a homeless person. And number 3 is surveillance. There are cameras everywhere that protect against crime, and the consequences of stealing are crazy high. It's now 1:15 and I walk into the Starbucks. Sure enough, this country has one of the lowest crime.
They said no homeless people. That might have something to do with the no crime, and having no people that are struggling. That might have something to do with the low crime, you know. And it's like they act like it's so complicated to fix homelessness or, you know, pretty much eliminate crime. You know, like this country is doing it. Well, how come we can't, as countries, look around the world and see who's doing certain things the best and implement those policies in your home countries, you know, all around the world? Just look at every different little aspect of human society. Just go around the world and look at different societies and how they deal with that thing, and, you know, figure out how you can implement that style of policy in your home country. You know, maybe it's the top 3 ways or the top 5 ways, you know, depending on whatever metrics you come up with to determine what's going to work the best for you in your country. How come we don't do that? Doesn't that make sense? Isn't that like common freaking sense? Like, and you wonder, that kind of thing makes me think like, so, okay, you know, I'm no freaking genius, bro. These people that are running these countries, like here in the West, they have to know these things, bro. They have to know that other countries are doing this, that, and the other, and those things are successful. So then why aren't they selling those kind of policies to you in your country? You know, so why aren't there politicians saying that? They could be like, they could get right up there on the stage and be like, look, they do this in this country over here, and this shit is working. You know, we like to, you know, tweak that a bit and do it here. I think people will be like, boom, boom, I'm with it. They're not saying that. I'm not hearing that. Let me read some comments underneath this. This is from Chaka Bars. He says, wow, I want to go to Singapore. Another comment, it says, I was there in 2019. The people were very friendly, and everywhere I went, it was so clean. No littering is allowed. The country is beautiful, and the airport is spectacular. Bucket list check. Another comment, it says, I loved Singapore. I learned so much about the country when I visited, and this makes a lot of sense. And it's one of the only places overseas I didn't feel uncomfortable when it comes to being a black girl. Another comment, I understand now why my brother lives there and won't come back to the USA. Another comment, nice setup to sell folks on hypervigilant surveillance. I was kind of thinking that too, because the last thing, one of the comments the dude said, he said there's cameras everywhere. So that may be another reason, because he said there's a high price for stealing, theft or whatever over there. And that kind of scares me. It's like, what do? They take one of your fingers. I'm not a stealing person, so I mean, I wouldn't worry about it. But I'm just saying, I wouldn't want to see nobody get their finger cut off. I'm sure it's not that. I'm just saying. So, but he said there's severe penalties for theft. And then there's so many cameras. So cameras everywhere. So that's a hyper surveillance state. I don't know how necessarily that's good, you know. But when I think about that, I don't see how that's not going to be like, as far as in the future, like I really, and even not necessarily in the future, here in the States and everywhere we are, man, because they can access all of these damn cameras anyways. Your laptop cameras, your cell phones. We under surveillance already. I don't think there's anything we can do about that. That's a done deal. This is a crazy story. I'm gonna let her tell it.
I lived with my boyfriend and his parents for 3 months, and none of them knew that I was transgender. I'm gonna tell you how she found out. So basically, here's a little background on me. I started transitioning when I was a teenager, and you know, I went through the whole glitz and glam. I met my boyfriend here in New York, and you know, he was staying in Buffalo, but he relocated to New York, homeless. I met him outside. We eventually ended up getting together, and he told me that he was going to move back in with his parents, and he would love for me to come with. So I went, and I didn't tell him, yo, I'm trans. He introduced me to his mom. He introduced me to his dad. I met a few of his siblings. And, you know, I was even laying in the bed. There are times that I was showering and my mom would come in and nobody had a clue. So one day I asked to use someone's phone and my phone was not working. So I logged into my Instagram. I have 2 Instagram accounts. I have one for people that I know and another for people that I don't. So I ended up forgetting to log out. And his mom went to use her phone after me. And the next day when I woke up, I just found her acting really funny. She was acting really strange. She loved me, but then she started acting very standoffish, almost like you betrayed me. Like you could see the look in her eye. So, you know, I finally decide that I've had enough with attention and I want to ask her what's really good. Like, what's happening? What's going on? What's beef? So she's like, you logged into my phone last night. Do you know what you left on there? I said, no, nothing. I should have logged out. And she said, I went to your page and I watched your videos. I said, what videos? She says, of your transition. You didn't tell us. So then she's like, you were around my kids. You were around my grandkids. You were around my nieces and nephews. Why didn't you tell me this? I said, ma'am, listen, you make it seem like I'm a threat to the public safety or something. I'm a regular girl, but I knew if I would have said something that I would be labeled otherwise and I would be dehumanized and treated funny. That's why I didn't say nothing. She said, well, you got to get up and help clean up. You know what? If you're going to be living here, you got to help clean up. She started getting real snappy. So I'm like, I'm just going to pack my things and go because I know that's the next thing you're going to say. She's like, yeah. Does my son know? I said, nah. She said, you know what? We're going to keep between us, but you got to go. I said, so what did I do? I packed my stuff and I left. I wasn't going to play with her. I lived with my boyfriend and his parents for 3 months, and none of them knew that I was transgender. I'm going to tell you how she found out. So basically, here's a little background on.
That's fucking crazy. So the son didn't know and the family didn't know. But then she said that they was homeless. Met him when he was homeless. So both of y'all homeless. That's like red flags all over the place. Like, and he didn't know. You know what I'm saying? And y'all living together or whatever. And this dude didn't know. That's hard for me to believe right there. But whatever. I mean, freaking, that's still crazy. Like, that's crazy. Let me read the caption. It says, I was going to say I could never keep that information from my son, but then I thought maybe she was protecting him from emotional trauma. I can understand that. But then if and when he finds out the truth, he would feel betrayed by the ex and his mom for not telling him. So it's always best just live in truth. She should have told her son. Yeah, because how is that going to work out? He's going to come home and be like, what happened to her? I told her to leave, bro. Like, why, man? Shit, that's a dude. Like, oh, man. No, man, that's not true. And I wonder, so she said the phone wasn't working. That's another thing that sounds weird. And then I had logged into the other person's phone, and then I left the very page that was she trying to tell them that she was transgender without like telling them, just to see how they would react so they could know, you know? And then the mom's reaction is what gave her the answer that she was, looking for. But I don't know if that's how you're going to do it. I mean, that's the problem. The problem is, the deception, right? Again, I don't know how the dude wouldn't know, but if you feel like the other person does, if you feel like they don't know, then you need to let them know, especially if you freaking moving in with their mom and shit. That whole situation could have turned way uglier. No telling what would have happened. And you're putting yourself in a position where you're not safe if, because you're not communicating, what's real. That's crazy, man. What do y'all think about that? Let me read some comments. Let's see. One comment, it says, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Another comment, it says, he about to know now. Another comment, it says, you can't start a relationship off of lies. Another comment, this is dangerous. Why she risk her life like that? Then be wanting to be a victim of something pop off. Another comment, it says, that's not right to not tell the person the situation before anything starts. That's a dangerous game. If they accept you once it is explained, then cool. But to not be truthful is not right. Some people, once they find out afterwards, may try to hurt the person. That's why it's important to keep it 100 in the beginning. Another comment, it says, mad disrespectful though. Just be real from the jump and save everyone the trouble and embarrassment. Another comment, what's the TikTok name? We invested in this. We have questions. That's the internet for you right there. Another comment, it says, where's part 2, 3, 4, 5? Because I have tons of questions. The internet, it says, if you can't be honest in your relationship, then the relationship is a lie. Not everyone is okay with that lifestyle. I don't know if this is real the more I'm think about it. Because just like these people are saying, where's part 2, 3, 4, and 5? It does sound like a freaking soap opera. It would be a, what is it? Telenovela? I don't know. It does. The more I think about it, it sounds like somebody wrote this. Maybe it's not real. It's hard to tell these days on the internet. So I'm skeptical of everything, but maybe it's true. That's fucked up.
Or I noticed that men are so simple. Like, they're so simple. The more simple you look, like the less makeup you got on your face. I mean, like the more flaws you show, like eye bags on fleek, bitch. Pimples everywhere. Your pores, you can see them from Mars. They love that shit. I don't know why. The more flaws, the more beautiful you are to them. Why? I don't get it. I don't get, like, I should be grateful that you love me the way that I am, but like I'm also pissed because shit, I want to, like, you know, like spend money. Why are we so complicated?
Man, I think that is so true, you know. And then, so what is it then? It's the corporations got us brainwashed, both the men and the women. So the women are spending money on all of these products and stuff just because, really for no reason at all, because the dudes actually like them better without all of their products. So, you know, it's crazy. You know, they got to find like she said, we got to find a reason to spend money. You know, I want to spend the money. So, but I think that's our brainwashing. That's the reason why we're stuck on the hamster wheel. That's the reason why, you know, capitalism, it needs you to keep buying more stuff. You know, you have to be a consumer, consume more, so they can keep making their profits. And that's it. So, but then as a society, as people, you know, they got us kind of like in a trance. So we find reasons to buy stuff, you know. And what this lady is saying, I want to play it one more time. You know, the guys like you better when you freaking just natural.
Men are so simple. Like, they're so simple. The more simple you look, like the less makeup you got on your face. I mean, like the more flaws you show, like eye bags on fleek, bitch. Pimples everywhere. Your pores, you can see them from Mars. They love that shit. I don't know why. The more flaws, the more beautiful you are to them. Why? I don't get it. I don't get, like, I should be grateful that you love me the way that I am, but like I'm also pissed because shit, I want to, like, you know, like spend money. Why are we so complicated?
It's crazy because the flaws is what it is too, because like the little things that make you who you are is something that's kind of quirky or weird about you, like a mole in a weird spot or something. You got a curve in a weird spot, like you got like a bone poking out in a weird spot, and it's just like it distinguishes you. And really the person that falls in love with you love you, and a big part of why they love you is because of those little differences like that. And it's crazy how the world that we live in, everybody wants to be perfect, the men and the women. They have this thing where it's like everyone wants to be Barbie and G.I. Joe and shit. Like everyone is cookie cutter of each other, like they're all so perfect. Like, and it's like, I just want to look perfect. I heard Cardi B say that one time. It's like, I just want my breasts to look perfect. You know, what's wrong with that? So, but then I guess it ain't nothing really wrong with that. It's just that, why do you feel like you're not perfect already? Why do you feel like you need to improve what God made already? You know, and the thing is, you're never improving it. It's always the opposite direction. And the men are attracted to you more when you just look more natural. It's just so true. I mean, yes, the dudes pop their eyes on the big fake boobs or the BBLs at first when they see them like dressed up in clothes or whatever, but a lot of that really just that's just kind of like the animalistic lower self part of them. Once time goes on, that is becomes not a positive, it becomes a negative. What's up, Pat? You there? I'll give it a minute. I wanted to read a couple of news stories too. I really kind of wanted to do that at the beginning, before I get into the shit that I wanted to talk about. Elon Musk. Hold on, let me see. What did I see? I like to read headlines a lot of times. Senator caught on hot mic giving Biden some bad news. Scene removed from Taylor Swift video over outcry. It was a scale. Look how sensitive everybody is now. That's an old ass video too. It's like really old. Another headline: Kanye West public response after losing major deals. 7 hospitalized after train derails an amusement park. State could be the first to make What do you say? You breaking up? Is that me? What's happening? It says dad slams other parent for shaming his daughter's homecoming dresses. Not my daughter's job to make your son focused. What? They don't have nothing. All the stuff they could be talking about. This shows the news is just trash. This is Yahoo News. I just typed in whatever. Body of missing Indonesian woman discovered fully intact inside a 22-foot python. I saw that story. That's kind of interesting. Let's look at this one. It says body of missing Indonesian woman discovered fully intact inside a 22-foot python. Villagers have found the body of a missing Indonesian grandmother inside the belly of a python they killed over the weekend, Indonesian authorities announced. Jara, who only has a first name as customary in Indonesia, went out to collect rubber on Sunday morning in the forest in Jambi province on Sumatra Island, Indonesia. Her husband began to worry after she failed to return home that night, prompting him to alert other villagers and report her missing. A search party was organized that night to find the 54-year-old grandmother, but they only found her sandals, headscarf, and jacket, and the tools she used to gather rubber at the time. The search parties only found success a day later, on Monday, when they discovered a 22-foot-long python with a bulging stomach resting in the woods. Video shared online shows the villagers killing the snake with spears and bashing its head. The villagers captured the snake and dissected its body. To their horror, they found Jara's undigested remains intact inside the python's stomach. Her family then reported her missing to the local authorities, and a search has been carried out since then. The snake was killed by locals. So what was that? It says Beecher Jumba Police Chief, aka Hira, also shared similar details while speaking to the local media Sunday. It says this victim's body was not destroyed when we found her inside the snake, meaning that she had only been recently swallowed whole, police said of the python found near the village. Although it was unclear how Jara was killed, Anto speculated that she could have been snatched by the python's jaw and was slowly suffocated to death before swallowing. It says police data shows 150 increase in hate attacks on. Oh, that's separate. While python typically eats rats and other animals, the reptiles often change their diet as they increase in size. Anyways, what I think about is, was she working in like one of those sweatshops? Like, was she working for one of those same big corporations that we know the names of, and had the grandma working out there in the rubber, collecting rubber and shit in dangerous conditions where she could freaking get ate by a damn snake, you know? And if these people were left to their own devices and didn't have these corporations all in a mix, would she have even been out there fucking trying to get some rubber? Like, I'm sure she's not getting the rubber for her freaking community and her personal family. Like, that's definitely going to a corporation to make some money or whatever. And it's probably for getting paid pennies too, some damn slave labor. That's what I think about with that story. What's up, Pat?
What's up? What's up?
How you feel, man?
Feel all right. A little bit under the weather, but you know.
Man, I'm fighting it too, cause my daughter was sick last week, and I think she got me, but I'm fighting it. I have to ask you because in the chat, Nisi was saying, hold on, what did she say? Let me pull it up. About she being offensive? She thought that you were saying that she was being offensive.
How?
Hold on, let me see. I can't pull it up. Hold on. Almost there. Okay.
Like I'm almost never really responding directly to anybody. I'm speaking just kind of like, you know, to any and everybody because I'm not like, yeah, like I know. I mean, honestly, I saw y'all's conversation, but I saw what both of y'all were saying, and like I came back and I responded just based on that. But that was just like, let's not, you know, I don't think she was being offensive. I mean, I didn't take it that way.
I know you wasn't, but let me see. She retweeted this one. It said this. You said this. I hate to sound cliche, but keep hope alive. Our tongues are powerful. Let's speak what we want into existence. No negative talk, because we can do it. And she said, "May you elaborate."
Well, yeah, I hadn't been back there since I wrote that, but no, I mean when I said that, it was just like, because I guess really I was more responding to you because you was like, yeah, because I think you was like, I don't, like it'll be good, like, I guess I'm not verbatim, but like you were kind of like, I wish we could, but I doubt it, like, you know what I'm saying, like,
okay, yeah.
People, not coming together or, doing, so that I was just kind of like, look, nah, we could do this, you know what I'm saying? Like, just more of a kind of a pep talk. Like, we ain't gotta, accept it that way. I mean, we gotta go for what we really believe. Let's speak what we believe and let's do what we believe. You know what I'm saying? So
try not to have doubt in the people, because that's what I was saying, like, because we were talking about the boycotting rights, because I kind of wanted to talk about that earlier, but I think it's way down the list now. I'm probably not gonna be able to find a video talking about the boycott and divestment of Israel, and it's these people who work this job who got fired because they signed on to this, boycott of Israel. And they sued about it and shit. Anyway, it's just like, it's a thing. So, but then it's crazy though, because that's what I'm saying. Like the boycotting does work. And so, but certain groups have so much power that you can't, they'll make, like, you don't have to work for them. You ain't got to work for them. And they can get you fired.
Well, my thing is that
I've been missing the comments.
There's so many options. Like, I mean, because we're talking about, okay, I don't know too many people that buy Balenciaga anyway, but like, what's his, shoot, Adidas, which a lot of people don't buy already. So it's like, okay, if you go and buy it now, it's almost like, you're purposely trying to hurt Ye, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? It's because it's like showing, hey, we still get your crap, and whether they put his name on it or not, because we know it's his design and this, that, and the other. And it's like, I think that it'll be better off for us to show Adidas that, you screwed up by getting rid of him, and like, that's the kind of message I would like to pass, because I mean, we can speak volumes with how we spend our money. We don't have to get out in front of everybody's face and go marching and here and there, and that like if we reject our dollars to those who don't, really add to us as a whole, I think means a lot. And okay, yeah, you sell it to who, you sell it to the people that you've been selling to, but I think they capitalize a whole lot off of us, and it's off of things like this where people are like, oh well, thinking like they getting over. Oh, I got some Yeezys for $150, $200, where they might have been 500. It's like, okay, regardless, like get a less comfortable shoe. Like I don't know, like you don't have to be those shoes. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't deal. Me personally, because I've always loved Adidas, but for whatever reason, I had stopped buying them. I think like I've been buying a bunch of Nikes. So I was actually going to buy some Adidas because of these, Ye. But
yeah, and I think a lot of people did that. Like we said earlier, he saved them. They stand to lose billions of dollars over the next few years.
Yeah.
I freaking been missing these comments. Let me go back, even though it's 30 minutes ago. Fahira said Kanye has a tendency to put his foot in his mouth. I'm really just not into him. Not that he may be a bad person. I just don't agree with him. She said, and on the subject, nobody asked them to come here. They do started out as a ship full of thieves, whores, and murderers. So I'm just saying. No telling what I was talking about at that time. Another comment is she says, it's all about the money and people just follow to the slaughterhouse. Whew. Another comment, she says, use natural products. Vinegar is good to clean your windows and countertops, mirrors, etc. But don't you got to clean up after the vinegar? Doesn't it leave like a residue?
I think it has I don't like the smell.
Yeah,
because I think it cleans pretty good, but I think, it's just the smell that left behind.
Another comment, she said, Big Brother still has satellites watching everything, even through the TV. I'm still on the list. Yeah, man. A lot of these TVs do have, I don't think we're paranoid if you think they're watching every one of us, but they could tap in on any one of us. I don't think, unless you got there's no cameras anywhere. And then it's funny, she mentioned the satellites because I didn't say nothing about the satellites when we were talking about the surveillance and the cameras being everywhere. But yeah, you got the satellites too. So anytime you're outside, basically, all you got to do is be outside. There don't even have to be no cameras around. Like you play back and zoom in on right on your freaking head.
But you know what? I think there are some that but they got some pervs that's out there that, I mean, if it's a female that's hot, they would probably go watch her into her home.
Yeah, that's something to be concerned with. So you probably don't want to be changing or doing anything like that in front of any of your cameras, because if some nerdy dude might be able to just hack into your shit and just be watching you creepily. Yeah. Anyways, earlier I was talking about Christ Energy. That's the name of the show today, because I kind of wanted to, I'm kind of on the spirituality tip for this week.
Well, I missed the first hour, the first 45 minutes or whatever.
Yeah. Well, we just into 54 minutes. I like to do the monologues at the beginning now. That's kind of how I've been doing it. Let me read this. It says, woman snaps and leaves fiance at hospital to foot the bill. I refuse to help him out. Woman left her fiance at a hospital when he refused to pay his own medical bills. She asked Reddit's, "Am I the, I guess, asshole?" forum to weigh in on the matter. She and her fiance agreed to split the finances equally until they get married, as they both earn the same amount. However, she couldn't help but notice that anytime she asked him to pay for anything, he would use the excuse that he was saving up to buy an apartment. She pays when they eat out, when the apartment needs fixing, or when they need anything else. Meanwhile, he buys gadgets and gaming equipment. Recently, he asked her to drive him to the hospital after experiencing weeks of ankle pain. Afterward, he demanded that she pay his bill. That does sound kind of crazy. It says, "I had it, especially after that he threatened to not add my name to the new apartment's title if I refused to help him out. I snapped and told him to pay for himself and stop using my money with the apartment excuse. Then I left," she wrote. He paid the bill, but has been furious since, calling her selfish and negative. "You are being used," as a user commented. "Don't marry this user. You're worth more," Reddit replied. "He's just using you for your money," another wrote. Yeah.
It does sound funny.
Yeah, not a nice guy. It's funny how, like, that's the only news they have. Like, it's shit like this.
Yeah.
Maybe it's our fault because it's what we click on. Like, I clicked on it. Yeah, man.
It's funny how they get us.
Yeah, we have to. Yeah, we have to accept our personal responsibility for. It says Texas goes permitless on guns and police face an armed public. Well, it's the Wild Wild West. It's the Wild Wild West in Texas. Everybody have a gun. It says permitless. You don't even need a permit. Everybody could just buy a gun and have it concealed. Walk around with it.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing. I actually think that the more, accessible a gun is, because I mean, of course, like when people are purchasing, they should go through the proper steps. They have to go through the process or whatever, but like, I think that the crime in Texas will be lower because it's not being, the Second Amendment is not being suppressed.
Yeah, well, you said process. There ain't no process. You go to the store, you buy it, you leave out the store.
That's bullshit. I'm about to, like, bro. No, like, no, I'm a third one. No, you go through. No, you gotta go. Like, they do the background check. If you clear, you can leave with the gun. If there's questions, because the person with me, I guess it was somewhat questionable. They weren't able to leave with theirs, but I was able to leave with mine. But I had government clearances and all kind of stuff. Like, I got a totally clean record. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I can. But there is a check. Like, you got to sit there and fill out a long, like a 2 or 3 page application.
Let me play this right here. It's talking about gun control.
Because you're going 2 steps down without, you got to stop it before it happens.
So to stop these fascists, we need to take away all their guns. They need to hand their guns to the federal government.
They need guns should not be allowed in the hands of citizens.
Worried about fascist uprising, would you want to restrict gun rights for citizens?
Yeah, because with you're going 2 steps down without you got to stop it before it happens.
So
You gotta
to stop
it. You
to
gotta-
stop these fascists,
You
we need
want
to
a
take away all their
democracy or
guns.
not? If you don't want
They need to hand their guns to the federal government.
They need guns should not be allowed in the hands of citizens.
Those are people that really need it. I mean, I don't know if anybody's really aware. I don't know what the technical name for it is, but they're calling them purge laws, where like right now, like if somebody's decides they want to come and sleep in your shed or your garage, like you have to decide the proper pressure to put on them to either make them leave or whatever. Somebody can, like the cop probably may never come if you just call and say, hey, yeah, somebody's, in my, my garage. Like somebody was hanging out and just sitting in my living room when I got off from work. Like nobody's probably gonna come because of these different little laws that they've been enacting, because like really criminals have more rights than the non-criminal.
The non-criminal.
Well, at least in that situation, because I mean, but I'm just like, no, but I mean, it's really insane. I mean, and I think that this is a part of the psychological like processing of like trying to get people to realize, oh, do you really want to defund the police? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, like we talked about this long time ago, maybe for at least over a year, maybe, that they marketed that whole idea wrong, because like when you say defund, it's not necessarily like we don't want police. It's more so like, do we have to fund them to the point that there are small military and then they get used against us with our own tax dollars? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the part that I think is, overseen. Is they're, and then I'm trying not to go, pick on a certain party, but there's certain people who are trying to use that, I think, to really throw it in people's faces. Like, do you really not want police there? Or do you know what I'm saying? Like, they're lessening the presence of police officers to try to prove a point that we're gonna either spend the money, excessive amounts of money on the police, or we can just let the criminals come into your house and you can hope somebody come, or maybe you just deal with the shit on your own.
I think this is the clip I was looking for related to the New York judge orders unvaccinated employees reinstated and with back pay. And that's kind of been going over the internet, and I kind of wanted to talk about it because it's really not a lot of people. I think it's like 16 employees. They make it sound like it's a big, well, I mean, it is a big deal, but it's a small amount of people. And whenever they say New York, I automatically think it's like, wow, that's a lot of people. Let me reboot right quick and come right back.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's kind of weird.
Yeah, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, so the New York thing, people, it sounds like it would be a lot of people. So I kind of wanted to clear that up for people because they're blowing it up like it's a lot of people, even though it's a good thing. But I think she says it in here. I really hope she says it in here.
There's too many mind games that goes on. Like it just kills me. And you know that happens. That happens on both sides of the aisle because it's just like they'll manipulate the whole idea. I do believe that most of the media is more of a leftist type agenda. In the majority. Not that the right doesn't have their own, but I just think that the left has a bigger force when it comes to that. And but they'll utilize a story without complete facts to make things look magnified. Make it seem like it's big.
Yeah. Let me play this.
Well, we have some breaking news. A New York State court has ruled fired unvaccinated public employees must be reinstated and given back pay after being let go for not complying with New York City's vaccine mandate. This is a big win. The judge ruled that the mandate was arbitrary and capricious, basically a bunch of bunk, not based in any science or any sort of, consistency. And ultimately, the judge said a whole lot of things many of us have been waiting to hear. This is a very powerful ruling that is rooted in facts and science. Let's go ahead and break this down. All right, so first of all, the case involves 16 fired sanitation workers who were let go after their applications for vaccine exemption were denied. This ruling only applies to them, but...
6, okay, that was it.
6 people.
16.
Oh, 16.
But the whole liberal left is screaming this shit like but it's a good thing, but that's 16 people. So
of course,
what about all the rest of them?
This would be a gateway ruling, which is why the city is now appealing the decision. Now, during the appeal, the sanitation workers will not be reinstated and they will not be given back pay, but we're going to go over this case. And I have a hard time seeing how any appeals court will overturn this ruling based on all of the hard, cold facts the judge stated. So let's go ahead and go over it. So this is some of the background information. On October 20th, 2021, the vaccination mandate required all city employees to show proof of at least one dose of vaccination against COVID-19 by 5 p.m. on October 29th, 2021. On December 13th, the commissioner extended the vaccination mandate to employees in the private sector. But on March 24th, Mayor Adams enacted Executive Order number 62, which provided blanket exemptions from the private employer's vaccine mandate for athletes, performers, and other artists. So they said, well, if you're an athlete or a performer or another artist, you don't need to adhere to the vaccine mandate. But everybody else, whether you be a public worker or a private worker, you have to do it, except for famous people, is what they said, which, many of us knew when these rulings came out, when these mandates were coming out, that they weren't based on just public health measures for everybody. They were biased. And there were many reasons for their bias and many ways that they were biased, but this is one of the showcasings of it. That happened also here in California, where I am, where you were exempt if you were the Hollywood industry was exempt from having, all the various mandates that other employers were put in that were put in place for other employers. They weren't allowed to open up their businesses, but Hollywood was allowed to operate. And a lot of that had to do with the lobby and the amount of money that's in California with Hollywood, and the same thing in New York. They've got a lot of performing artists. They've got sports and whatnot. And they just said, okay, well, you're exempt because somehow you're safer than everybody else, even though you're in, if you're an athlete, you're in extremely close contact with other people, but, follow the science, right? So it says here, there is nothing in the record. So this is the ruling here. There is nothing in the record to support the rationality of keeping a vaccination mandate for public employees while vacating the mandate for private sector employees or creating a carve out for certain professions like athletes, artists, and performers. This is clearly an arbitrary and capricious action because we are dealing with identical unvaccinated people being treated differently by the same administrative agency.
Boom. So
I think that was one of the things that made me really just like, nah, this is bullshit. Is because so many inconsistencies.
Yeah. You know, it was too many. Like when they said, it was like, oh, you got to use the, what was it? The G9 mask or whatever it is, or better.
The K49. Wait a minute, no, what was it?
And then a couple weeks later, they was like, just use the cloth mask. That's when I was like, oh, well,
yeah, it just doesn't matter.
Got the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
get all the way the
because
fuck.
it meant it depended on the availability on what was necessary. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, they realized that they wasn't gonna be able to produce. They was not prepared. All of those masks were gone like almost immediately, and they needed to have them for the hospitals and freaking, you know, the healthcare peoples. So no, they was like, well, y'all could just use the cloth mask. Y'all good. Don't worry about it. You good. Just wear the cloth mask. That's when I was like, oh, get the fuck out of here, man. Get all the way the fuck out of here. So then what she's talking about is them
not halfway
saying,
the fuck out of here, all the way.
She's talking about how they was like, okay, well, if they're an athlete or they're a performer or they're an actor or something, then, you know, they don't have to go by the mandates. And then there goes another, get the fuck out of here. Because if y'all really worried about like a pandemic spreading and people dying, then it's going to be like, regardless, bruh. So it's like the celebrities and the politicians. That's why Boris Johnson had to step down. Because they had the videos of him partying and shit when he was telling everybody else to stay in the house.
Well, you know what? To me, you know, I guess because of how I operated during the whole pandemic, like I work, you know, like I'm a truck driver, so I'm like 90 to 95% of the time I am in my truck. So it's like, you know, for the, you know, and then, you know, the people that I'm around, I'm choosing those people, you know what I'm saying? Like, if, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can choose to be around you or not, you know? So, I mean, it was very, I could see how people could really, you know, kind of have that dealings with a small group and things not be so, you know, it could be really safe. But, you know, I can see that it's probably more so the people's anger, you know, grew because of, you know, the way that they were handled through the situation, and then he comes in, he's doing something totally different than what he's telling others. But, you know, I don't know. I guess I'm weird about that part because, like I said, I also knew that it wasn't, you know, like, I guess for some people was getting sick, I get, you know what I'm saying? So everybody's not really using the same tact when they're moving. So it's like, all right, some of y'all, you know what, y'all really just need to go and sit your ass down. And for somebody who's kind of more tactful about the way they're moving, yeah, you can, because I mean, what do they call the people that have to keep moving? The essential workers.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say he fell into the essential worker category. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was everywhere, like all over the country. You know what I'm saying? So it's like some of us do need to keep moving and doing stuff. And, you know, if you got a stressful job, shit, why not go get you shit, fuck it, have a party. I mean, shit, y'all can go have a party with your family at the house. You know what I'm saying?
But you couldn't do that. They said no gatherings are more than like 5 people or some shit like that. And then it was like only your immediate family members.
But that's what I'm saying. If it's the people, man, but shit, look, they was barbecuing. They was like, I know my family was.
And then you had neighbors.
They wasn't inviting people, outside people. I mean, it was people that lived in that same household who was hanging with each other. It's like, really? Like, I mean, you really expect people just gonna be inside the house? Like, I can't, you know what I'm saying? Like, be in my backyard? You know, lost your damn mind. And if my neighbor says some stupid shit, they liable to get their ass whooped.
Let me read some comments. It says, refreshing to see a journalist stand up for the people. We need someone like him in Canada. Another comment, it says, my friend worked for the last 3 years in NYPD operator and dispatcher, not missing one day, healthy the whole time, constantly checked and tested, using public transportation with no mask, no shots, no gloves, no wipes, no Lysol, etc. in a crowded call center until finally being terminated 4 months ago for refusing the vaccine. And still waiting for my final check to be paid for 4 months. Thank you. Keep doing your thing. Man, that dude was venting.
So,
Let me read
I think that was a little bit irresponsible. Like, no sanitizer, no spray, no, like, you ain't use shit to try to protect yourself.
Well,
Nothing?
they probably was, but he was saying that they didn't provide none of that.
Oh, they did. Okay, that's all right. That's the point I missed. I thought you said, okay, all right.
Because if it's your job to be out there doing that shit, you would think that your job would give you the stuff that you need. That these are the tools that you need for your job.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, no, I get it. Like, I get it now. I thought he was saying, like, yeah, I done did all this stuff and that blah blah blah, and I ain't used this, I didn't use that. That's what it sounded like at first. But when when I hear that he's saying, like, without this job preparing, I mean, offering or
yeah. So he said he worked through it and he didn't get sick, and then he said he ended up getting fired for not taking the vax. And then he said it's been 4 months. They still haven't paid him his last check.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, man. I like the people that are my partners in trucking, because you know what I'm saying, like, they could have been like trying to force me to go get a shot or some shit. And it's like, man. And then after everything, you find out that these things are more harmful than they are helpful. Like, bro.
Let me read some more. It says, I dare to say the best moment of journalism since April of 2020. A judge saying that what we all knew but were told not to say out loud, and a journalist saying it with emotion that we all felt. This is just the beginning of days of recompense, but it is a beginning nonetheless. Thank you, Kim, for not re-recording over your true emotions. You are helping others by being real in a time of falsehood. Another comment, it says, I worked right through the pandemic as a caregiver and was made to feel uncaring, anti-vaxxer, etc. I went to work terrified every day for months. I do not regret refusing the experimental gene therapy crazy world. Another comment, it says, the most disturbing thing to me was not the vax mandate. The most disturbing thing to me was how many people were silent as their coworkers, friends, and families were clearly discriminated against and said absolutely nothing.
I ain't gonna lie, like, right now, I feel like I'm protesting, because, I mean, we went through the whole pandemic trying to do, like, we're keeping America moving, where, like, a bunch of people actually quit, because of their fear of, catching something, this, that, and the other. But for those that, like, were here the whole entire time, it's like, especially like right now, like, rates are lower and fuel is higher. It's like, shit, I own a truck, but I'm getting paid like I'm a company driver. You know what I'm saying? Because of those, those dynamics. They paying less for the load, and then the fuel is higher than what. Like, I'm spending over $3,000 a week, and like, that's just fuel. That's not my insurance. I mean, thank God my truck is paid for, but just fuel a week, $3,000 a week in fuel.
That's ridiculous. Let me read another comment. It says, transit employee here. I got lucky and was never mandated to get the poke, but this ruling is like a breath of fresh air. I've heard so many ignorant and hateful comments about the unvaccinated in my workplace and have to hold to my tongue, and it continues to this day. Fortunately, I never had to stand up against it, but your emotional response resonates with me, one of the victims of this tyranny. Another comment, it says, let's hope this is part of a domino effect of the triumphant court cases that will finally stop this tyranny. Another comment, it says, cried watching this. Thank you, Kim, for being a guided beacon of light during the darkest years I've seen. Another comment, it says, I cried with you, Kim. I lost my job at NYC Charter School. I hope this ruling helps my case as it was a catastrophe for me and my family. I hope the workers get their back pay and jobs stacked. I hope the ruling class feels some shame. I still cannot believe it happened. God bless this judge. Yeah, I think somebody needs to pay. I think that people should really be angry about how the thing was dealt with. You know, I'm trying to be careful how I say this, but it's like, you know, we should be pissed. You know, no matter what side you're on this topic, you should be pissed about how it was dealt with.
100%, because period, it was not handled, you know, properly. You know, because I mean, some of the things based on the you know, the previous administration that was in, and the way that they, you know, treated him, to find out that the exact things that he was recommending was things that would have helped, instead of going through, you know, like, because I mean, one thing for sure, the people here now, like, a part of their stick is to use fear tactics. And this is like, this is one-on-one when we're dealing with these people, is that, you know, they get a, you know, they know that they get a better response, or they get more people more, you know, activated when you put them under a certain level of fear. But when it's false fear just to get what you want, you know, you trying to sell some shit that you done invested in, that's the part that I'm very angry about. Because you know, I made a post earlier this week. It's like, if you really watch what your politicians are invested in, that you'll see right away why they push that more over anything else. And it's all about the dollar. It's not about you. It's you know, them trying to make, you know, like the projections that they shot for, they really trying to hit those numbers. So they, you know what I'm saying, they campaign against that, you know, or campaign for that thing with no, you know, no, just like no remorse.
Yeah, man.
And
It's
I think
crazy,
about,
crazy times.
yeah, and I think about the people who was really harmed through all of this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, like, really, like, physically, like, some people not here today because of some of the things that you know, like the anxiety. Just think about how, you know, people who might have gotten a little sick, and because they find out or feel, you know, they fail a test, thinking, okay, you know, oh, I'm about to die, and then really it's not totally the sickness that they die from. Because I mean, partially maybe, but just think about the anxiety that goes through some people, and then the hyperventilation, like all these different things that push the you know, the narrative of, oh yeah, they were just, you know, had this illness, this sickness or whatever, but the anxiety had more of an effect on it than the actual sickness itself. Like, everybody can't deal with stress as good as others, and may have simply given themselves a heart attack, hyperventilated, and, you know, stressed out, thinking, oh, I'm gonna die, and then they do, because.
And you had the media scaring the shit out of everyone, basically telling you, if you go outside, you're gonna die. If you ride the metro, you're gonna die. If you go to work, you're gonna die.
If you catch the airplane, you're gonna die. You
Yeah.
better not do none of that stuff or you're gonna die. That's what the media
Yes.
was saying.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So you hear that enough times, you start believing it.
But no, but like see, there's so many other things because the supply chain gets so screwed up through this whole time. Like stuff that went to waste sitting out in the ocean where like they're not letting it in for like who knows what the real reason was, but it's a lot of different things that happen based on what they're saying, the pandemic, and like they're blaming on truck drivers, but like a lot of us never stopped working because we're like, we're gonna try to keep like we're gonna do our part to make sure America exists. Like we're not gonna, like we're risking our lives even more, with the under the idea that, like, all right, we out here no matter, we know, all right, we might die because we trying to do this, but just for the American people, because I mean, shoot, we almost like a military ourselves. Like, I mean, without us doing our job, like everything shuts down.
Yeah, and they knew they couldn't completely they should have had a plan in place for that. And I bet you they still haven't done it.
We beat farmer this year.
How's that? Well, we granted them legal indemnity in every area of life. We allowed them to jack prices for vital medicines, and we're about to grant them legal indemnity for more medicines, and we're refusing to prosecute them for evident, palpable crimes. Whoa! What a victory! Hello there, you 6 million awakening wonders. Thanks for joining me. That matter to you. We provide truth as imagine that would be, is that Big Pharma are now defeated. They no longer have a stranglehold over American politics. Congress is no longer awash with filthy Big Pharma dollars. Drugs are meaningfully price capped. The FDA is regulated independently. Companies aren't granted legal indemnity for their medicines. Insulin is not 680% more expensive than it could be. That asbestos isn't in baby powder, allegedly. And yet it appears the world we're in is very different from Joe Biden's fist-pumping world of wonder. He's sort of WWF. We beat Big Pharma this year. I'm the Ultimate Warrior. Baby, you need the Undertaker. Let's analyse together the various areas in which Big Pharma appear to be victorious. Should we start with insulin, a necessary medicine for those of us that have diabetes? New research estimates that around 1.3 million US adults, that's 16.5% of all adult insulin users with diabetes, either skipped entire insulin doses, took less than needed, or put off purchases of the medicine over the past year due to its high cost. That means it's too expensive.
We beat farmer this year.
Excuse me, I feel weak.
We beat farmer this year.
Please, could you help me regulate my sugar?
Come on, man.
The list costs of the cheap-to-produce medicine are often up to 10 times higher than in other countries. Now, of course, we know that capitalism is a scale, a spectrum. Just running a business and making a profit to feed your family and live a nice life, that's all cool and dandy, although ultimately perhaps you can make spiritual arguments about whether or not it'll make you happy, but there's arguments that I'm hardly qualified to make in this hat. But the idea that a vital medicine would be 10 times more than in other countries does make a mockery of the phrase, we beat Big Pharma this year, and indeed the entire notion of American greatness. America, this country that's changed the world, that's given so much, how can it fail its people in such an obvious way? One manufacturer, Eli Lilly, I don't like saying that, has hiked the list price of the commonly used insulin product, Humalog, don't like saying that, by an inflation-adjusted 680% since it started selling the life-saving drug in 1996. 680%. 680%. Like that, what the board means, like, we're gonna increase prices of this life-saving drug, which saves lives, that's right, by 100%. Hey, could we do more? Well, all right, 200%. Doesn't seem like enough, does it? 300%? Listen, we're gonna keep going till it's 690%. Could we do 680? Yeah, all right. Eli Lilly have spent over $100 million in lobbying over the last 25 years. And from that $100 million, which seems like a lot of money to spend on lobbying for no return, they have indeed gotten a return because no one's going to stop them doing that.
We beat Farmer this year.
Oh, that's so cool because now you'll do something about Eli Lilly and that's 680%, where like 10% of people, 16% of adults that need insulin can't get it or are not buying it. Oh, no, sorry. What I meant to say is we beat Big Pharma this year in ways that do not affect Big Pharma in any way that they would mind because of their lobbying money, because of the shares Congress people own, and because of deep systemic injustice that I'm unwilling and unable to address. I couldn't fit all of that into a slogan. And frankly, if Joe Biden shook his fist for that long, it would probably fall off.
Come on, man.
I'd say Big Pharma 1, Joe Biden 0.
Man.
Time now for the next
Come
bout
on,
for
man.
fighting Joe Biden. Indemnity through child vaccines. I hope that this doesn't mean that they're going to continue to grant legal indemnity to vaccine manufacturers while they're pushing vaccines on children. But we all know, of course, that when the vaccines were first introduced, one of the things that many of us felt a little uncertain about was the legal indemnity granted to all companies. Because, of course, obviously, if someone goes, listen, I'll make your medicines, buddy boy, but I don't want you down the line suing me should those medicines have any what? Any nothing. So just give us legal indemnity and don't even think about why I would want that. Oh, okay then.
We beat Farmer this year.
An expert committee on Wednesday recommended that COVID-19 shots become part of the CDC vaccine program for children. Expert committee. Wonder who those people are. This, while 75.2% of children under the age of 11 already have natural immunity. So I'm not saying that natural immunity is more effective than the vaccines, but why don't you find out for yourself whether natural immunity is more effective than vaccines? And don't break up how I said that. This, while...
Man, he's really doing work on this because he's dodging the algorithm while he's talking. It's really clever. I love it. And so, but look, though, like they want indemnity, you know, so it's like they're giving it to the little kids and then they're like, you know, if something happens along the line after they grow up behind this,
You can't sue me.
you know, if they get sick afterwards or something, you can't sue me. Anything happens, you can't sue me as a result of them getting this experimental shot at a young age.
And see, and that's another thing because, like, I'm like the whole schedule, like it really, you know, because I mean, you find out more over time, like how these things actually affect, you know, children mostly. Because I mean, a lot of adults, you know, like I mean, you're not really getting those shots after, you know, going into adulthood. But I mean, that like children with autism, asthma, like a lot of different, you know, diseases that, you know, children have been getting more recently. It's really from these shots, and you know, it's and then for, you know, the government to try to protect the companies because, like, honestly, like when you really look at it, like you don't need, like we really don't need those shots. Like nothing really shows that you need these shots or that they are really that helpful from birth. Because I mean, really, because like they're saying, like the whole like your immunity, your natural immunity, it's gonna automatically starts working in children because like your cells are fighting, and especially if you were breastfed, like a lot of the stuff that the mother has already been, you know, gone through an immunity. And even when you look at it from the point of view of your DNA is carrying things that, you know, like I said, there's nothing new under the sun. So all of these things that's already been around, COVID is really not new. Like the way it's being spread because of the what do they call this stuff? Because they finding new ways to be able to spread it, you know.
Gain of function.
Gain of function, yes. Because of gain of function is why we're seeing this happen, being able to be transmitted, from person to person the way it is, or even from animal to person. You know what I'm saying? It's all because of this stuff that they're doing in the labs. And then because, most people don't really understand the terminology of what it really means, is why they're just kind of like, okay, what do I need to do? Like, because I believe most people are trying to do the right thing. Like, they're trying to
and
be,
they're misinformed, and then the what is it, the specialists or the experts are paid off by the pharmaceutical companies, so they're not telling you the truth, telling you lies. It's hard. It's hard for me to get it out. I don't want to get in trouble. Let me read some comments. It says they want to try and sue gun manufacturers for other people using their products irresponsibly, but want to grant immunity to pharmaceutical companies who cause actual harm to people when their products are used as directed.
Wow.
Makes total sense.
Wow. Hey.
Let me read another one. It
I
says
love it when Americans, or people in general, really are thinking like,
and not everybody is dumb. Like, they think that's what makes me so mad, is because they say what they say, and they just like, everybody just gonna swallow. We all supposed to just swallow this shit? Get the fuck out of here. Come on, man. There's gotta be some more people around here that am I alone?
yeah, like,
no, if people aren't dumb, it's a lot of us. It's just that they're quiet because that's how we survive. Let me read another
I think
comment.
the fear that they put in people, like, that's the other side of it.
Yeah, and it's we have right to be fearful, because look how they ostracize people, man.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get it.
Or
I mean,
suicide you even.
Yeah, with the quickness.
You cross the line too far, they come in and knock on your door. They know who you are, your name, everything. And if they gotta come up with some FBI charge, some kind of, and they'll do that. And there's people that's sitting in prison right now who ain't never been charged with no crimes.
Yeah, just sit there until I figure out what I'm gonna charge you for. Damn it, shut up.
You had to do something. We know you did something. We just don't know what it is right now. So we just gonna, when you sit right there, and we gonna just, you gonna tell us what you did? Yeah, but I ain't did nothing. Okay, well then you just gonna sit there until we figure out what the hell you did, because we know you did something. What's your name? Abdul? Oh yeah, you did something.
Yeah. 9/11. I wasn't born during 9/11.
Let me read some more comments. It says, it's crazy how someone can manufacture deadly product, sign a piece of paper, and walk away without any punishment. Another comment, it says, the officials who recommend the vaccines be added to the childhood schedule need to be investigated for corruption. Another comment, it says,
I think they canceled it. Like, I know they had passed it, but I think they also canceled it like the very next week because of all of the kickback they got from it. You know what I'm saying?
They're doing it. The kids are getting them. It's happening. Let me read another comment. It says, I never got vaccinated because I never saw this as a serious issue. I followed Dr. John Campbell and read my local newspaper. The headlines were most scary than what was in the content of the articles. I still find people living in fear of COVID. The hardest part of me during this time was the loss of friends through this issue, lockdowns and mandates.
I mean, it's really sad, bro.
That's really the saddest part, how they separated us, and we're still super separated, and we're skeptical and afraid of each other. It's like, you're gonna get me sick, like, and it's this damn elitist ass attitude that people have, because I noticed that people who feel like they're on the higher class of the people, they tend to be the ones that want you to wear the mask, or they want to wear a mask. Like, they feel like, you're going to get them sick. You dirty little worker class, you're going to get me sick. I'm way more important than you. your little
You know,
non-important person comes around me and gets me sick. That's
goodness. That say, bro, I've dealt with that with people in my family, and shit. I ain't gonna say I'm the richest person in my family, but you know what I'm saying? Like, they act like they just high and mighty over any and everybody, and I dealt with that personally. You know what I'm saying? Like, the shit hurt my feelings. You know what I'm saying? Like, are you serious? You know, because I haven't taken a shot, and it see, but when there's information provided showing that, the super spreaders were the ones who have been taking the shots, they don't want to hear that because like that doesn't fit into their narrative. Like, because that's the whole thing. Like, you can ignore, like, people will ignore things that, what I'm saying, they don't, what I'm saying, if it doesn't fit their narrative, they can just play it off and be like, oh yeah, no, you know, that's just another lie that, for them to, like the thing that they're doing, they'll say that that's what other people are doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, they automatically make someone else the liar in that scenario. And it's just way too much evidence now for people to really ignore it, but I think people still are, because they don't want to face that. Oh damn, I was an asshole to everybody that probably is healthier than me.
I
digress.
Yeah, I wanted to talk. I hope this is good. I don't remember, but it was like the ads. They're talking about what kind of ads. The TV ads are what's most important in the political sphere, and that's where most of the money goes into, because it really affects. They really have strong impact.
Man,
and it's easy.
Go ahead.
And I was gonna say, and it's easy for them.
To some extent, I really wish I could vote in different states in just different, because like the Warnock and Walker thing, bro, that shit has been hilarious. But for it's crazy that the articulate guy failed the most, because Herschel Walker, with his CTE, he don't really talk that well, but for a lot of people that don't really matter. It's like, he's not scared to say what he's there to fight for and what he's fighting against, and he just comes off as way more honest than the guy that supposed to be the head of the Ebenezer Church, the same church that he uses the whole Martin Luther King crap or whatever. I mean, I see him as a fake, but like, I sometimes, like, I really wish I could go to Georgia and vote. But and I would vote for Herschel Walker. Just for I'm telling you, like, I mean, honestly, like, when it gets to this point and somebody's stepping up, he's like, damn, ain't nobody else out there, and this dude, he putting people out of his church apartment or whatever, whatever this, he's been putting people out behind $20 that they owe, and this, that, and the other, throughout the pandemic, and like all these different things that they have proof of this happening. It's just like, wow, he's a pastor and he's acting like this. You know what I'm saying? Supposed to be a pastor. Like, I mean, that doesn't, take people out of being, capitalist.
To bring Will Bunch back into this conversation, you have written about the story at Penn State, as well as the rise of the far right across the country. We talked with you in the first segment about the senatorial debate last night. We didn't talk about the gubernatorial debate because it's not happening. But in Pennsylvania, the Republican gubernatorial candidate, Doug Mastriano, who attended the January 6th Stop the Steal rally and helped arrange buses encourages for pro-Trump protesters to go as well. He later worked with former President Trump's legal team to overturn the 2020 election results. Talk about this race that is playing out in Pennsylvania, and then overall, not only about Mastriano, but the power of the Proud Boys and other such groups across the country now.
Yes, I mean, when people say the phrase "democracy's on the ballot" in 2022, I mean, nowhere is that more true than Pennsylvania. I mean, you accurately described Mastriano's background as an election denier and somebody who was very much an active participant in January 6th, and in fact is still being looked at and investigated for his role in that. But it goes much deeper than that. I mean, one thing is that Pennsylvania is a state where, as governor, he would be choosing the Secretary of State. In other words, the person who oversees the 2024 elections in Pennsylvania would be chosen by a Governor Mastriano if he wins. And he would pick somebody who shares his, big lie 2020 election denial philosophy. So that's pretty alarming. The other thing is Mastriano is run with a full-on embrace of Christian nationalism. I mean,
looks like Will Bunch just froze. Will, are you back with us? Will is speaking to us from Philadelphia. Will, continue with what you were saying. You froze for a minute.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, Michael Flynn and Roger Stone were here Friday night in Pennsylvania to campaign for Mastriano. So he hasn't moved to the middle in this general election campaign at all. I mean, he's embraced his extremist roots, and he's hoping that a big turnout of people who share his Christian nationalist philosophy is going to be what gets him over the top on election day. I mean,
well, as we fix your microphone, I want to bring up a final comment, and that is, or an issue, your recent column for the Philadelphia Inquirer, where you look at the right-wing political TV ads that ran repeatedly during the recent baseball playoffs, saying the games were marred by, quote, jarring interruptions from the most shockingly crude and arguably racist political ads since Willie Horton hit the small screen in 1988, unquote. The anti-immigration ads were sponsored by a new group that calls itself Citizens for Sanity, linked to the America First Legal Foundation, founded by former Trump advisor Stephen Miller. This is a part of the ad.
Chaos, humanitarian disaster, hospitals overrun, schools overwhelmed, the safety net shredded, drug dealers and sex traffickers roaming free. A third world country? No. Arizona. Joe Biden and Mark Kelly have thrown open the southern border.
Citizens for Sanity has also funded billboards attacking Democrats nationwide in ads in newspapers. And there's some pushback. The group Every Town for Gun Safety ran this ad against Pennsylvania Republican gubernatorial candidate Doug Mastriano. The ad highlighting Mastriano's use of the right-wing social media platform Gab and its ties to the Pittsburgh Tree of Life synagogue shooter who killed 11 people.
Before murdering 11 worshipers at this synagogue,
multiple gunshots are heard from the lobby.
The shooter posted his manifesto on Gab, a site for extremists who promote violence, white supremacy, and anti-Semitism. Doug Mastriano paid thousands to the same site to recruit supporters. Mastriano is a far-right conspiracy theorist who compared gun safety measures to Nazi Germany. Doug Mastriano is just too extreme for Pennsylvania.
So if you could comment on both of these, Will Bunch, that ad we just played on Mastriano, and before that, the ads that played during the playoffs of baseball.
Yes, I mean, these ads have been very visible in Pennsylvania. And in fact, Citizens for Sanity unveiled a new crime ad that targets Philadelphia specifically, and it aired twice in the 10 minutes before the Fetterman-Oz debate last night. So they're highly visible. I mean, these ads are violent. They're racist. I mean, they make the infamous Willie Horton ad from 1988 seem just remarkably tame in comparison. And what's disturbing is I just don't see the Democrats doing much to counter this, to counter this message. I think the crime message is the reason that Oz has gotten back into the race. And in using this crime issue as a bludgeon, I think the Republicans have very successfully kind of muted the things that we're talking about and what the message of that Mastriano ad, which is about, democracy being on the ballot, the threat from far right extremism. The Republicans are going for a certain kind of middle class voter that is going to see the threat to democracy as abstract, but is going to see the fear that's engendered by these ads as being very real. So the Democrats are running out of time, but I hope they find a way to counter this Republican messaging on crime, because I'm really worried that it's proving to be very effective so far, certainly here in
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It is.
Yep, I think so too.
Well, and if you really pay attention, the way that a lot of them are, like when you hear them debate or talk or whatever, the talking point, like who they're actually trying to reach. Like it's not like they're trying to reach the intellectual section of democracy, the Democrats, the people that's willing to come out and vote for them. They go for the like they're going for, or at least the way that they feel about the Democrats for the most, people that's running for office, the people that they're looking for to vote for them, they're shooting for like the lowest of low. Like they feel like that's really their different demographic is who that they advertise to. And like abortion, you really feel like abortion is the biggest issue that people are dealing with when people are starving and like their decisions to that might be an issue for some people, but there's much more serious issues that's going on in the country that you don't want to discuss because they most like they created that problem.
Right. They just want to fight some abstract problem, some kind of elusive thing that may never get done type shit.
Yeah, they don't want to promise something that, because they know that like the crime is not an issue for them. Like honestly, like I can go into the all of the theories of why they're allowing certain things to happen. But regardless, like they have a lot to do with why it's happening, and they're trying to appeal to a crowd that I don't know. I feel like it's degrading to a big extent. Like it's really degrading, and some people kind of like oh yeah they really care about us, like. Really, like you really like like you're accepting of this kind of message, I guess it really says a lot about who's they feel their supporters are. But the Dr. Oz, no, hold on, let me say this: the thing with Dr. Oz, we're talking about a TV doctor. You know what I'm saying? He's been, running around the country for years, just being his TV doctor thing. So to me, that it raises alarm to me that like real people, like I've been seeing it myself, but these people are jumping out here to try to take these, these positions in politics where they had, they could be living a real comfortable life if, they didn't think things were so out of place. This is how worried people really are about the country. The decisions that's been made is that they have a comfortable, relaxed life that they could continue. But of course, some people do care about their grandkids and their children, to keep their grandchildren of what kind of world they're going to have to deal with. So I think that has a lot to do.
I think a lot of them are using their popularity, and the politics as like a popularity contest, and the office is just another thing, like another trophy or whatever.
Well, I think that I would definitely say like that is a good strategy, but at the same time, these are not people who are, they're coming out here on serious issues. They're not coming out here on just like, oh well, I'm better than him. Look, I look better than him, and I'm cute, like a true popularity contest. No, these people who are like, no, like our country is in bad shape, and if I don't come and do it, I don't know who else will. So that's more so how I'm seeing it. But I'm sure, like, I mean, everybody's gonna have their different point of view of why these people are showing up. Honestly, I really feel like a lot of these people really do care about America, and not to say that Democrats don't, but I don't think that they know that their power goes a long way, that they don't have to do a whole lot. Like, they don't have to do a whole lot because they count on the fact that, especially in the black community, that, oh, these people vote for us all the time. Even when we don't do shit for them, they're going to vote for us. Like, they really have that kind of a attitude. Like, I'm not going to promise them shit. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to make them scared of what these what these Republicans is going to come and, be racist to you, and they're going to control you. Oh, they Mr. Bad Guy Republican. Like, that's all that they mostly run on. It's not like, look, I'm just a better candidate because I do the work. I do this. I've done that, and that. Like, no, they haven't gone with anything like that in a long time.
Let me read a couple comments. It says, the first comment, it says, I honestly just don't know how much longer I can take it. That's heavy. I can hear it. Another comment, it says,
that's scary, bro.
I'm telling you, man, how many people out there feeling like that?
I know.
That's real short and sweet.
Oh my God.
Like to the point.
Go ahead, man, because I mean, that right there, like, that shook me, bro. Like, people really are really feeling some kind of way about how things have been going, and like, we're worried more about what's going on the other side of the world. Not to say that we shouldn't worry at all, but like, we got so many problems here at home that gets overlooked. Like, everybody gets a piece of America except Americans, and that's what really a lot of people are feeling.
And you just see them doing the tomfoolery and the clownery and the bullshitting, incremental change shit, and you just get frustrated as hell. Meanwhile, time is going by. Time is going by. The corporations are continuing to go out the back door with all the money. We continuing to have less and less freedoms and rights, and everything is just continuing to go to shit.
Yeah, and we got to compete with, like, all right, our minimum wage has been what, $7.50 or whatever for who knows how long, and inflation is going up. People that like, even people who, I mean, because $20 an hour really isn't enough for people to live on in this country, especially now. Like, it's like, people can, that haven't lived with, like, hasn't made more. It's harder for you to go backwards, but that whole, like, just they've been talking
$20
about
an hour, and you're gonna pay rent, you're gonna pay gas, car note, phone bill, light bill, whatever. You're gonna you're gonna have lunch and food. That $20, that might not make it, bro. Like, seriously.
No, it's bro. Like, I've done the math. Like, I mean, I thought about, like, if I had to go back into the regular job market, go work for somebody again, I would really, like, what kind of money would I need to really just kind of, at least, I would have to give up some things, but still, like, what would I be able to live off of? And my calculations is more toward the $45 to $50 an hour.
Yeah. And that's literally how much it's gonna cost, like, to live.
And then we're supposed to globally be competitive with China, people who are making $2 an hour. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's it's just not gonna work.
And that's one of the problems. They need to have some kind of system between countries where they work together on stuff. And you have like the Swiss banks, because I was watching a video talking about where the taxes came from. And they were talking about the French Revolution and all of this stuff. So, but anyways, the tax, that's where the no taxation without representation stuff came from. But, they found the loophole, and that was by because it was the income tax that finally tapped in on the aristocrats, the oligarchy, finally started tapping in and making them pay some into the system. So they was like, okay, whatever, we're not paying no income tax. We fucking moving our money into another bank that's outside of the country.
Yeah.
So y'all can't tax that at all.
Well, look, let me say this, because I think a lot of people get it confused because, they use these certain terminologies as a negative thing for some of these people, when they talk about the white nationalists. Because, I mean, whether you're a black nationalist or a white nationalist or Asian, if you are, look at your country as being more important than everybody else, that's nationalism. But those who are global, they'll say, screw the country I live in, because they get a better profit by, taking everything around the world, because they can exploit people, they don't have to be fair with anybody.
And that's exactly what these corporations are doing. And the same people that are screaming that, what you're saying, the conservatives, they are the same ones that support these corporations and big them up and say, "Oh, poor Elon Musk, poor Amazon, poor Walmart. Oh, it's hurting Walmart."
Well, honestly, it's more the liberals that talk about the nationalists, because that's all they talked about with Trump. Oh, he's a white nationalist. All of his his followers. These are white nationalists we got to look out for or worry about. Like, that's actually what was being said more about the liberals, by trying to discredit them for caring about home. So that's where, like, I think maybe you've got it, may have gotten confused, because it's not because not to say that there aren't any conservatives that have used that terminology, but for the most part, it's the liberal Democrats that don't, saying they have, the Pelosi's, the people who are filthy rich already, saying these, there's some people who are millionaires and billionaires that they could really go there much quicker and easier, but for whatever, they're more sympathetic to our own country, because they know, like, this is where they can live. Like, any one of them, they can up and go and live in any other country they want to at any moment, and say to hell with us, using our tax dollars to, promote a business, a corporation in another country, because they can make more profits there. You know what I'm saying? This is what we really are, like, one of our biggest issues that I don't think it's talked about enough, because I don't think the average person really understands that the reason for this, like, all of the changes that's happened since the 80s up to now, of why we losing more jobs. That, like, in the 70s, there, like, even like black men were getting paid rates of that was like their wife didn't have to work. Now it's got to the point where you better work. If you don't work, you're gonna starve, or you're gonna do without. You're not gonna be able to send your kids to college. Live this this thing called the American dream, but they've usurped it. They've taken it for themselves. They're the ones living the American dream, or whatever dream that they want, that they've created, where it's leaving the average American behind.
And that's exactly what's happening. So that's the class system. So, but then the rest of us trying to have this American dream, that's what puts us on that damn hamster wheel. But I think that the kids, a lot of the Generation Z, they are opting out of that whole thing. They opting out of the American dream. They off that, you know. They are more about work-life balance and finding.
But when
I was
there's no,
watching this video about this guy who he made like a tiny home, and he put it on a trailer. So then that called it a reconstruction or whatever, a rebuild or whatever. So then that way it made it legal and shit. And so he does a lot of videos talking about living off the grid. He uses a wood fire stove and stuff like that. So, but people watch his videos and then they figured out where he was at and had the police come into his house and shit, and trying to get his place demolished, trying to get him evicted, and you know, stuff like that. And I'll just think about it, and it's like, it's so crazy because why do these people care? You know, why do they give a fuck? This guy, it's like, because he's not paying, he don't really have no bills. You know, he was
because
saying
people are haters. Say, bro, a lot of people are under the slavery mindset so hard that anybody that has what we call, you know, people might say has beat the system. It's like, bro, that's the way we used to live. Like, that's how everybody, like, you know, even if you had a job or business or whatever, like you grew your own food, you raised your own animals, you shared with other people like-minded, and you know, you kept, like, you had your own community where you could, like, if you don't do that soon, like, you're gonna be screwed, because like at some point, unless like people really get involved and, you know, really care enough to do something different than they've been doing, like, they're gonna get ate up. Like 2030 is coming and their plans are unwinding. Like, unless, you know, something dramatic changes, because that's like one of, like, did you see the comment that that Putin made?
What comment?
I don't know. I because they're talking about, like, he's really going against the NWO. The whole, you know, like, that's really their biggest problem with him.
Yeah,
The reason,
Putin's not a dumbass. He knows who the enemy is. It's just
yeah.
everybody's playing with fire with this shit.
Well, see, but that's the thing, because I mean, they pretty much want to overtake everybody's country, make it one world government, because that gives them the power. And then, like, you know, them going to different countries, killing off the president, and putting in place people that are more lenient to them.
They want
like
total power. And it's like, if the dollar and the euro or whatever is the dominant world currencies, then boom, you know, they happy.
Well, the next in line would be the yuan. Was this YUAN, which is China. So
Yeah.
I mean, like, that would be the next one in line, but it's still based around the Federal Reserve. But we're talking about, like, different countries that, like, that's going against it. Like, they got gold, like, they got bars.
And that's what's gonna happen. This fake money is not gonna last forever. At some point, you know, and that's what's gonna happen. That's what's actually happening. You know, the United States, the West, if you will, is losing its hegemony. Yeah, it's already lost, and the world is changing, and it's not gonna be the global power that it was in the past. And it really just have a problem with that. It's not accepting that.
Yeah, well, I mean, especially when they screwed up everything, because see, them the biggest mistake where they lost the positioning with the rest of the world, the allies, because I mean, like, Saudi Arabia is no longer an ally of the U.S. There's a lot of different like, a lot of the European nations are going to pull out of even NATO before you know it, but because of them trying to push this green energy thing, that's, you know, they've lied to us about. Because, yeah, I mean, we could try to move everything to electric, but it's gonna use more emissions, because it's gonna take just as much oil, and then you're probably gonna have to go back to using coal just to be able to produce enough energy to run all of these electric vehicles, or
and it's those rare earth elements that they're pulling out that they use for the batteries, and they're tearing up the environment and using all kinds of fossil fuels to do that. They don't even have no other technology to be able to extract those resources. So
and then it's creating more trash, like you're not able to dispose of a lot of shit already because we lose using so many plastics.
And those batteries are toxic after their use. And
exactly.
It takes like centuries for them to
But see, when a conservative say that, like, because, and that's why I say that the liberal media is so powerful, is that they can say something and people just believe it because they're already programmed from hearing these people. They trust these people that they hear. But when people try to give you the real science behind it all and why all these things, like, we're not really prepared, the infrastructure is not there yet, like all these different things. They're like, the conservatives, the Republicans, like the independent, whoever they are that's telling you this is just hating on the Democrats. They don't want us to shine. They don't, what I'm saying? Like, that's where they got the average person telling it themselves and other people. Like, what I'm saying? Some people that have never done any research of their own, and they're like talking so confident, and they don't know that they've been lied to. Like, but
it's still good cop, bad cop, because the neoliberal agenda is the direction that they want to go in with the globalist ass shit.
Who is they?
They are them, because there's two wings of the same bird.
They are them.
Shit. They are all of them.
No, it's not all of them. Like, there's people actually fighting against it, bro. Like, you really think that, like, everybody is on this one thing?
Like the majority, I really do believe that they're all working for the same master, man.
All right, maybe there's a majority, but I hope at some point the majority is people who are thinking for themselves. Like, I know everybody don't have time to do, like, I mean, that's one of the things why they got people working like that, is so that they don't have time, and they just they have to trust and rely on other people's word that this is what's going on, so that they can trick you and pull the rug right from under your feet, because they got to keep you working on, so that they can build their plan up, keep you working on this and that and the third, and then before you know it, you're like, wait a minute, what? I'm getting laid off? Why am I getting laid off? You said that I'm, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then these people go and commit suicide because everything they work for is like just was ripped from under them, like just like the slave they are.
It's like nothing matters, and all I was doing was paying bills the whole time. Didn't accomplish nothing.
I'm doing my part. I'm being the American you said that we need to be. Like, you're telling us to work together and this, that, and the other, but the whole time you've been screwing me. And because they can't walk up to them and point the finger in their face or slap the shit out of them with their ass, they hurt themselves.
Yeah. And it's a depression, it's a hopelessness, it's a nihilism, and it's a loneliness, and that's the state of I would say a large part of the United States, huge segment of the society, because they realize it. They don't really there's a lot of us that just don't want to face it, but they still feel the undercurrent of it, and then it's a lot of us who can see it, and they're just like, we can't do nothing about it.
Yeah, because I mean, we can't hope our way out of this. Like, that's the part that, I try to tell people, like, yes, you got to keep a positive mindset. You have to speak in a positive manner so things are more possible, but you got to be ready to walk the walk. You know what I'm saying? The same shit that you said that you want to happen. Like, the Bible tells you faith without works is dead. Like nothing's gonna happen if you don't actually take action. So I mean, you know, you can try to put it on everybody. Like I mean, if you got enough trust in a certain group of people, you're supporting them and making sure that you know the time that they have to put into it, they can be able to take care of their families and do whatever. Okay, cool. Y'all have an understanding within your community. You got these people that's doing this, but if you're just going back and forth to work every day and you just like, you know, not realizing how much of this is your problem and how, you know, your in this, you know, your inactivity is gonna affect your children, your grandchildren, and so on. Because like at this rate, your grandchildren gonna be, you know, slaving for somebody.
Oh, that's depressing. Let me read another comment. It says, if we do not start teaching our kids who this land truly belongs to, and that colonization was a terrible tragedy for the peoples who were first on this continent, how are we going to expect people to respect the fact we are immigrants on this land and we have reparations to the people before us and the peoples enslaved to build our new properties? Respect for what came before, our history here, and we will learn to respect all new peoples in our lives.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna tell you like this because you know I am to some extent a reparation. Like I you know like based like under the current situation because of the finance difference between whites and blacks that they figured because it's so low. Like if we're gonna continue the way we are, like yes, something needs to happen. But honestly, I really feel like what's more like possible is for like starting now, like we are moving people out that's not doing anything for this, you know, like the people that's the selfish, greedy people, we need to get them out of office, replace them with people who are going to be fair and work with others, and we actually distribute the funds that we have more fairly. You know what I'm saying? Instead of, you know, robbing everybody out of every dime we can get out of them, we actually start treating each other fairly, regardless of, you know what I'm saying, we actually exhibit the Christ energy within our system. Like we have better chances of people in our future than to just, you know, because like I said, I mean, yeah, it'd be great if everybody, like all of the poor is able to, you know, be uplifted, but if they're still devising these plans where it's still sucking the life out of, you know, what we can do right here, and you know, we get together, we teach each other how to grow our own food, we don't have to depend on outside you know, places. Like we can go back to the utopia that this country was before all of this, regardless of, you know, what we consider to be race and all this other stuff. Like we can actually move into the future without having to give up everything. So I don't know. It's
Let me read some more comments. It says, why offer real meaningful solutions when you can stoke fear and hate? Phew. Another comment, it says, hate will not win over love. This should be the commandment after the first. That should be the most important for all democracy.
That's, you know, that's weird. Like everything in the Bible is thou shalt not.
Yeah.
It's telling you all the things not to do instead of telling you the things that you should. Like you should definitely do this and you should definitely do that. So that if you're doing these certain things that's good to other people, like the negative parts, like I mean, if you're loving your neighbor and, you know, not trying to transgress over his family, you know, his wife, and doing all these other, you know, crazy things, like the, you know, the shout not is not necessary. But I don't know.
I
That was
agree.
just
I agree. I mean, that's where the idea of like you're born in sin. It's like no matter what you do, as long as you're breathing, you're sinning. You know, Like,
Yeah. The idea is that you're more prone to do something negative than positive, because don't do that and don't do that. Don't, you know what I'm saying? Like,
it was like I wasn't even thinking about doing that. Now I kind of am, because you said not to do it. I didn't even know that was a thing I could do. Like,
yeah, nah, motherfucker, it was in the back of your mind.
No, I really wasn't thinking about it at all. Like, I never even knew that was a thing.
Yeah, right. I hear you.
Let me read a couple more comments. It says, why is Mastriano allowed to run if he participated in insurrection? That's the guy that's running. Let me read another one. It says, in 2015 LA governor race, David Vitter ran very blatant racist dog whistle ads. This only helped to drive up the black vote, and Vitter ended up losing in a landslide.
Well, mostly like, people need to realize a lot of the stuff that you see with this this January 6th stuff is a hoax to control the people's minds of people that they can. You know, to try to, like, this is like to put people into an uproar, because a lot of them going through the Capitol, putting their feet up on certain people's desks, and like, that's not a crime. And you know, they're trying to make everybody feel like these are such bad people, you know, the best that they can. Like, even, you know, like, you know, yeah, I think Trump should have done more. Like, I mean, it probably shows that he did have you know, like, a lot to do with these people going and bum rushing the Capitol, whatever. But this is our Capitol, and like, we have the right to go in there. I mean, you don't have the right to hurt other people, because I mean, you know, when you're, you know, like, your rights end where other people's rights begin. So, you know, it's you know, they're trying to turn it more into something else, where if it was really something that was, you know, illegal, like, they would have taken a different approach, instead of trying to be like, ooh, him bad guy, ooh, him, you know, like, they would take a much more serious approach than what they have. So I mean, we really got to use common sense on, you know, the perspective of, like, okay, ask yourself certain questions to be able to unwind some of these things. Okay, why aren't they charging, you know, the people that they've charged is, you know, pretty much all the, like, the only people that they can charge, you know, they the ones who committed certain crimes. Others that just, they didn't commit a serious enough crime for them to charge them with anything. You know, unless you want to say that, you know, they was running on the grass. If you want, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, they didn't use the sidewalk. They used the wrong entrance. I mean, like, a lot of it is, like, really to just, they're trying to control your mind. It's not really to do anything to those people. They're trying to gain control over you. So pay attention.
Let me read a couple more comments. It says, when Europeans first came to America, the one commonality that differentiated them from others and unified them with one another was the color of their skin. Nothing has changed.
Yeah.
Another. Go ahead.
You don't think, you know, did you see the debate with Fetterman and Oz?
I caught some clips. I actually have a video on that.
Man, I feel bad for that dude, because I mean, you know, I do believe, like, the dude can, like, I mean, it doesn't stop the way he thinks, you know, because it's kind of the same argument that I had with Walker. Like, he may not, you know, and even Kanye, like, that, you know, the ability to think is still there, but, you know, the processing and to be able to verbalize it, to actually, you know, is where the trouble is. And the man just had a seizure, I think they said, about, I mean, no, a stroke about 6 months ago. So, like, they're saying, like, right now, that might be the best we're gonna get out of him. So, I don't know. It's kind of sad to see, bro. You know,
I think I have some clips on that, but I want to read a couple more comments, and then I'm gonna look and see if I can find that clip.
Yeah, I apologize.
That's okay though. Let me read this. It says, I live in a swing district and haven't heard any racist or anti-immigrant ads for any level of government. They're too focused on abortion and crime. That's pretty much all the ones I've seen too. It's funny that they say he says this because they saying that there was all those immigrant, but then too I don't watch TV. That's right, I don't really. Let me take all that back. I'm
And
not
you
a
know
good example.
that's I think a part for me too, because I notice when I do watch TV, I do get like it's crazy how powerful it is,
Yeah.
bro. Like it really is, and I think because more normally I can pick every little thing that I watch, but if you're watching TV, you don't choose. It's whatever that the messages that they're sending you.
Yeah.
So,
And then
oh my,
random ass commercials coming in, selling you products. That's the one of the things about ads that really bothers me a lot. Just the basic part is that I'm not interested in whatever the hell it is you're selling me. Like I'm never ever in a million years gonna be buying that shit. So like how they blanket these ads for everyone that are for like specific people or whatever. You know what I mean? Like all the
yeah,
rest of us gotta sit through this fucking ad that we are not interested. This product or service will
no,
never ever in a million years use.
but no, bro. Look. I'm gonna tell you, the shit is so like I like there's certain things that like I would never like purchase or whatever, but at some point when you see it so many times, it will make you consider something that you would like on your own. You would never purchase. Like it really had like that's what I'm talking about as far as like how it can how it can really control you is that like
Well,
I'm trying to think of a good example, but
it's good. Well, I'm thinking of stuff like some hair grow cream, and you've got a head full of hair. Like, you know what I mean? Like stuff like that. I mean, like some feminine products, and you're a dude. Like some medical
yeah, you
pharmaceuticals.
might decide you want to buy that female product for somebody it's like, I wonder if such and such could use it. But that's what I'm talking about. Like, I mean, something that you don't need or whatever, but you done seen this thing so good. It's like, damn, that might be a really good product. I wonder if such and such could use this. I wonder if you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
it like I really believe
powerful.
like yes, it's like almost hypnotizing.
That's why I don't watch them. I don't watch them. They super powerful. So, but yeah, it's so annoying for everybody to have to watch the ads for shit that's not for you and shit. Like, you know what's weird? Those like Boeing ads, and it's like, who the hell's in the freaking business of buying jets? Like, not jets, but like the big Boeing airplanes. Like, who's buying Boeing products? Like, why do they need an ad? Like, what the fuck
I ain't
is
gonna
happening?
lie, I want one. So I mean, it really like that might be geared at me because I do feel like I, at some point, I want a helicopter, but still, I mean, that would be like
But
the
these are
spark.
not planes that people buy because they are the big, huge commercial fucking, you know,
Yeah, I mean,
big.
when it comes to that, somebody who's gonna buy a plane is, probably not sitting in front of the television, but.
Exactly. So that's what I mean. That the person that's buying some Boeings is somebody that's going to open a company, a airplane company. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
it don't necessarily mean some Boeings. It might be a Boeing. You
Even
know what I'm
a
saying?
Boeing is probably for a company because what the hell other reason would you even be buying it
Well,
for?
Creflo Dollar bought one. I mean, it's hitting somebody like his the people in his that goes to his church is kind of like, oh wow, okay, my pastor might need one of those, and like, oh yeah, pastor, I started doing a research like. It does spark interest in like even a common man because even though they might not get it themselves, they know that they're gonna put $100,000-$200,000 or whatever in the plate for a month, or, a couple of months in order for the pastor to be able to get that plane.
That's crazy. So he can have that ultimate bling bling. My pastor got a Boeing, bro. That's how he flies. Shit.
But that's how some people flex. Oh yeah, we just bought our pastor a new plane. Yeah. So I mean, that's probably what it is.
Ain't gonna never step foot on it. Ain't gonna never
Never.
see it. Ain't gonna never smell it.
You better not dare even like bring it up to the pastor. You know, we got you that nice plane. You know, I need a you know, you going
Why
to
don't we
Africa.
why don't we take a church trip in the plane, you know, and it'll be free because the congregation gave you the money for the plane. So
Bitch, you
yeah,
better, he
can
gonna
we
be
take
like,
a trip?
bitch, look, he gonna clear out straight to their face. Bitch, you better go talk to American Airlines. You better go talk to Spirit, somebody, cause you ain't getting on my plane. Oh, okay, Pastor.
This is a long-winded comment, but I kind of want to been reading this. I kind of been reading it in the background. It says, education as an antidote for hunger. Recently, the UN and several related organizations marked two significant dates, the World Food Day and the International Day for Eradication of Poverty. International organizations for the poor and hungry have existed at least since the end of World War II, but neither poverty nor hunger have been eradicated. If anything, they have increased. What then are we doing wrong, and can we change the dismal reality? The problem is not lack of food. There is plenty of it. In fact, much of the food that is produced gets thrown away and pollutes the water and the ground rather than feeding hungry mouths. So people are hungry not for lack of food, but because there is no interest in helping people get it. The prevailing attitude is one of narcissism. We care only for ourselves and suspect everyone else's intentions toward us. If we have any surplus funds, we use them to build walls and fences, not to help others. This is how we behave around the world as individuals and as nations. To quiet our conscience, we create organizations to tend to the poor and hungry. We fund them generously and appoint functionaries and bureaucrats to deal with the problem. But if our hearts were with the poor, we wouldn't not leave them in the hands of bureaucrats, just as we would not leave our children in the hands of social workers to see if their upbringing. We would see that the people we care about get what they need. Because we do not care, we appoint uncaring people who present plans for dealing with the spreading poverty and hunger and announce special days to bring the problem to public awareness. They do not do a thing about the actual problems, but simply justify their bloated salaries through professional design presentations and verbal speeches that glorify their non-existing achievements. This dude is going in. Hold on, there's some more. If they truly want to solve the problem, which funds their lavish lifestyle, there would be many ways to do so. However, the surest way to uplift people from poverty is education. First, there are technologies that can increase the yield of fields by multiple times through sophisticated irrigation systems, controlled environments, and other means. Farmers need to be taught how to use these techniques and should be given the means to acquire them. This step alone would lift countless people out of hunger and poverty. Next, I think the organizations for eradication of poverty and hunger should use their budgets to buy lands where they would both grow crops for food and will be dedicated for the poor, and use some of the land to teach local farmers more efficient agriculture. Additionally, these centers for agriculture and education should be used in order to provide general education. It is well known that educated people have more opportunities in life, are generally better off, and can provide for themselves and their families better than uneducated people. Therefore, as a means to eradicate poverty and hunger, these centers should also provide general knowledge and education. Also, education should be only about avoiding poverty. Poverty is not a personal matter, but a social one. Therefore, people who study at these education centers should also learn about solidarity, mutual responsibility, interdependence in today's world, and other topics that will help them establish themselves as positive elements in a connected world. In this way, we can create an agrarian transformation that will become a social and cultural transformation that can free people not only from the grip of poverty and hunger, but integrate them into the global society of the 21st century as confident and positive individuals. In turn, these people will help others rise from poverty, and the process will gain momentum. Wow, that was freaking long-winded.
I figure you would be run out of characters by then. Like, good Lord. But you know, like he made some good points, but like one of the things me personally, I think that we should really be doing, because we need more trees. Like, that's number one thing, because our oxygen levels are getting so low. But the trees that we should be growing, of course, we need just regular pine and oaks and pecans and this and the other. But I think we should have a lot more fruit trees that's accessible to the public. I mean, of course, we have different times where it's like, okay, it's not time to pick from these trees. Don't pick from these trees until,
just have some ground rules on it. And we could I've been making that argument forever, the fruit and nut trees. But further than that, it has to be, we have to have a focus on the local, shrubbery. Like the stuff that's supposed to grow there locally already, naturally. And because a lot of these trees we bring in aren't, they're parasitic to the environment, because they're not supposed to be there. So they don't fit in. And and that's why I be saying about like the Aboriginal Americans here, especially for us in the United States, that, we should be getting a lot of information from them about that kind of stuff, because they know that stuff and how like these plants grow together and the ones that are supposed to be out there and stuff. And that's what we don't know.
You know a bunch about this already. And I mean, of course, like you are, I would say, you are an Aboriginal American. And if you don't consider, I give you honorary, not necessarily membership, but recognition of being, but you know a lot about plants and fruits and all these different things. You grow stuff yourself, so I mean that would be like you're talking about yourself. So
yeah, but they have that intense as intricate knowledge.
No, our government had we have our own agricultural association. So yeah, we have that in place, but the growth of it, because like we're still like we actually need more people that will that we can get involved to help grow a lot of these things. But of course, to some extent, we got to do it privately, because the federal, state, governments, they might have issues with that, because that's going to mess with somehow they feel that's going to mess with their money. But we can do it as much as we want on our own property. So I don't know. That's somewhat, but I do think at some point we do need to, bring our Aboriginal government and do more work with the city and state, so that some of these things can, grow bigger and faster, because the people is what we, really, at some point we need to forget about, not necessarily forget about, because I mean, like I said, I'm a capitalist to some extent, but we can't just be all about just the money. What's going to help people? We able to feed people, or them be able to feed themselves, because of the type of infrastructure that we're building. Because yes, we need bridges, we need roads, we need all these different things, but we also need to be able to provide food for ourselves.
Okay, this is the last thing I want to cover. Tomorrow I want to cover the China, because I really wanted to talk about China, and I haven't done that, so I'm gonna dedicate tomorrow's show on that. But here's some clips from the Fetterman and Oz. That's what you was talking about, right?
Yeah, man, this is kind of hard to watch.
I'm running to serve Pennsylvania. He's running to use Pennsylvania. And let's also talk about the elephant in the room. I had a stroke. He's never let me forget that. And I might miss some words during this debate, mush two words together, but it knocked me down, but I'm going to keep coming back up.
I'm running for the U.S. Senate because Washington keeps getting it wrong with extreme positions. John Fetterman takes everything to an extreme, and those extreme positions hurt us all. What we have to do is ensure that we don't have increased inflation, and the best way to do that is reduce gas prices. John Fetterman has gone after the energy industry, called it a stain on Pennsylvania.
He has never met an oil company that he doesn't swipe right about.
There should not be involvement from the federal government in how states decide their abortion decisions. I want women, doctors, local political leaders, letting the democracy that's always allowed our nation to thrive.
If you believe that the choice of your reproductive freedom belongs with Dr. Oz, then you have a choice. But if you believe that the choice for abortion belongs between you and your doctor, that's what I fight for.
Will you pledge tonight to release those records in the interest of transparency?
To me, for transparency is about showing up. I'm here today to have a debate. He keeps talking about Bernie Sanders. You know, 3 years ago, he was on his show and he hugged him and he said, "I love this guy." You know what? Why don't you pretend that you live in Vermont instead of Pennsylvania and run against Bernie Sanders?
I strongly support fracking, drilling, the piping of that natural gas.
I do support fracking, and I support fracking, and I stand and I do support fracking. I'm the only person on this stage right now that was successful about pushing back against gun violence and being the community more safe. You know, all he's done is just put a plan up on his website in the last 24 hours.
Part of the problem is that we have taken away the ability of police to do their job, and that's on John Fetterman. Because John Fetterman has taken such a harsh position against them. He's undermined them at every level. I would support Donald Trump if he decided to run for president.
All right.
But this is bigger than one candidate.
My campaign is all about fighting for anyone in Pennsylvania that ever got knocked down, that had to get back up again. You know, I'm also fighting for any forgotten community all across Pennsylvania.
Ask yourself this and others in your family. Are you unhappy with where America's headed? I am. And if you are as well, then I'm the candidate for change.
I ain't gonna lie. I hardly watch the freaking local politics, well, the national politics that much. I don't know which one is the Republican, which one is the Democrat out of those two. What is it?
Oz is running for and that's the thing. That's how serious it is. Like, it really doesn't. It shouldn't matter who's who, but whoever's, you know, like, that's the thing. But Oz is on the conservative side. Fetterman is on the
liberal side.
Or Democrat,
Okay.
whatever.
Okay, well, yeah. I don't really know either one of those guys. I never really watched.
You don't know Dr. Oz?
Nuh-uh. What? That's a TV show?
I think he had one at one time, but he usually shows up on different people's shows like Oprah and like I done seen him on the Breakfast Club. Like I see it, like he's everywhere.
What does he do on those shows? Like he gives motivation speeches.
No. He's like
Dr. Phil.
No, he's a real doctor. No, not Dr. No, he's like no, he's a real doctor, and he, you know, just gives common sense ideas to people, you know, like even with weight loss and, you know, certain things, like people, you know, like he's not necessarily a naturopath, but he you know, it's just simple solutions to your health. That's pretty much what he stands for.
Yeah, he hasn't been on my radar. I think I've seen his face around, but I haven't
But that's what I'm saying. Like, this dude is a multi-millionaire already. That, you know what I'm saying, you know, which, like, I'm not saying, like, a lot of politicians might be that before they start out, but to me, it just seemed like, wow, like, things must be really bad in Pennsylvania for him to feel like he needs to run. Or even just really the country, because, I mean, the Senate, like, he's gonna be going in to vote on shit that we deal with everywhere. So I mean, that's why it's relevant to all of us of who's really going in on all these different states, because these are the very people that's gonna have the opportunity to vote for what you think and what you believe in, or the opposite.
Let me read some comments. It says, This debate is going to go so viral. I don't think there's any way Washington Post can brush this under the rug with a 3-minute montage of Fetterman sounding slightly coherent. And it has been, clips from this has gone viral.
It has,
Yeah.
I've seen quite a few of them, and I'm like, man, like, you know, in some cases, because that was actually like that was the best one I seen of Fetterman, because I mean he stumbled over a lot of stuff, and like I said, I'm very sympathetic or empathetic to, you know, his situation, but you know, like honestly, when it comes down to it, like we need somebody who can communicate, you know, regardless of what's going on in your mind. Like you need to be just the same stuff I said about Kanye. Like you don't, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you might be smart enough, you understand, but if you're not getting the point across, like you're not, you know, you're not winning. You're not, you know, you're not doing the justice for what needs to happen.
Let me read some more. It says, props to Washington Post. Their editor made John Fetterman sound coherent. Another comment, it says, they conveniently cut out the part where Fetterman literally opened the debate with, hi, good night, everybody. Another comment, it says, can't believe I heard swipe right in a Senate debate.
Yeah.
Another comment, it says, you guys really worked hard to find snippets that made Fetterman almost sound normal.
But that's, as I'm telling you, this is the best one I've seen.
Another comment, it says, wow, they actually were able to scrape up a piece together, 3 minutes of Fetterman not actually sounding like Carl from Sling Blade. Impressive editing skills.
Wow.
Another comment.
Like that's fucked up, man. Like people are harsh, bro.
Yeah, that's why I freaking like to read the comments, because this is what people are really thinking. They're not gonna say this on the news story, and even if they get interviewed and they ask them about it, they're not gonna.
They can't. Yeah, they can't. Like they'll get sued so fast if they actually said it on the news. Like give that kind of opinion, man. The whole news station, everybody gonna get it.
Did you hear that story about the trans lady that I talked about earlier in the thing?
I don't know. What's with
that didn't know? I don't know if I want to go back to that. Hold on, let me see. It said Kanye then came back to Instagram. It says, hold on, let me pause this. It says, Young Thug offered Kanye West 100 acres in Georgia to build Yeezy stores. That's solidarity. We should expose all of those companies who are dropping Ye and find out who's using Uyghur labor in China. Don't point fingers when your hands are dirty.
Well, you know what, bro? Like, because honestly, I feel like this could be a great opportunity for Kanye, because I mean, even if his liquid cash is not available, you just need to find, like, you know, you can find some other people that's willing to invest with him and create some manufacturing. Maybe go to Africa and get you some places to do manufacturing, give jobs there, and then, you know, bring them back to here in America, like, because they'll sell all over Africa too, but then like you'll be able to sell this product right here in America still, and like you totally cut those people out that's trying to cut you out like that. But
yeah, I think it'd be better if he made that stuff here though, here in the States.
I mean, it would well, to some extent I would say yeah, but I mean, because it'd be great to give people a job here, but I'm talking about as far as cost. If you know, instead of trying to do the whole China thing, you know, like you can still be giving black people opportunities for jobs and this, that, and the other. But You know, like I said, I mean, what I'm speaking from my capitalist bag because, like, I know, like, how much is it gonna cost to build here, and to also hire people that's gonna get a fair rate. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's gonna. I mean, starting out, I mean, I really think that it'll be better off for him to really start off in Africa, like. But that's just an idea. You know, 100 acres in Atlanta or in Georgia, like the stores is not enough if you don't have somewhere to
Yeah, I
actually
mean, you
use
can't
this.
just put all your stores in one. That
But I
wouldn't really
mean,
make sense.
yeah, but I mean, yeah, and
But
that's
if
like
they're,
that's for stores
but
because I
they
mean,
could
yeah,
be
they
manufacturing out there. They could
well
build
that
some. Yeah.
yeah. No, I mean, yeah, he could do some manufacturing, but like people forget, like he's already got thousands of acres in Wyoming that he already owns.
Yeah. This one says, CNN says Shell will buy back 4 million worth of shares and increase its dividend by 15% after posting another gigantic quarterly profit thanks to strong oil and gas prices.
Shit, I mean, I believe it. Like, I mean, shit, every time I'm filling up, it's between $500 and $700. It's been a couple times I done hit $900 because I'm in an area where it's just how much more it is in that state. But yeah, bro, like yeah, they making plenty of money, which is like I really feel like a lot of stuff could be regulated on a federal level for them to not be able to charge more than what I'm saying, like a certain percentage over the cost. Like they could have done this a long time ago, but they're choosing not to.
Man, I'm trying to go to that post and it won't let me. Oh well.
Did you hear Kanye talk about well, I guess Sway was right.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that. That's
Sway did have to
that's the
ask.
thing I like about him, because how many people got the nuts to say that? Most people wouldn't even ever come clean like that. Most people wouldn't do that. So
I know.
That's hats off to Kanye for that.
Yeah, because I mean, like I ain't gonna lie, like I really like I know I give him a lot of benefit of the doubt. People who already kind of like be hating on him, like they don't. You know what I'm saying? But so yeah, he made some comments that he really should have kept to himself. Which I to some extent I'm just like, all right, that's some bullshit or whatever. But for the most part, like if you a hater, you linger, you stay on those little bullshit subjects. If you're somebody who's like, if you are trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, like accepting his, okay, he's a human, he does make mistakes, like you will try to look more into the, okay, the positive side of it. So, just I mean that for y'all that's like really paying attention, like everybody who saw, just know that they're haters. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, everybody saw or heard a lot of what he said. Like, okay, yeah, you can be mad about it and this, that, and the other. Okay, that's your prerogative. But like, there's certain things. I think there's a picture bigger than, these one or two things that, they're trying to make it more about than like the, because it's like something that happened within a 30-second window, a 2-minute window, and the conversation went on for 3 hours. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. But I mean, everybody's got their, they're gonna look at it the way they see it. But
Let me hear this right here because this is on Kanye.
Myself cutting ties with Ye for what he done said out his mouth. Since y'all done cut Kanye, it's time to cancel the rest of these rappers. We got to go down to the root of the problem. I'm talking about these rappers that send your kids to prison, but they send their kids to private school. I'm talking about these rappers that be talking about the prostitution on the songs, but they got a husband at home. I'm talking about the rappers that be talking about the WAP. They got the WAP. Get it? But they sent your ass home to your goddamn baby daddy on whip. Yeah, we need to cancel all of that. I'm talking about the young Jesus out there, the one that rap about the goddamn dope game. But they done traded your ass in for the Chinese family, aka Miss Wonton Soup. We gotta cancel all the fake shit. We gotta get to the root of the problem. Y'all can't just be goddamn talking about canceling goddamn Jesus boss. Yeah, because it seemed to me, it's just like when Jesus got them threw that table over and said he don't want no more business with them people, and they canceled his ass, and now Kanye West did the same thing, and they like, canceled his ass too. Ain't no different. Let me tell you something. If we gonna go to canceling people, and we gonna get people out the way, it's time to go to the root of the problem. Everybody that did any kind of flaw shit in the game that mislead the people, got to be canceled. I'm talking about these rappers that paint their fingernail, talking about they goddamn gangsters. Y'all got to be canceled too. I'm talking about the rappers that walk around talking about they got a gun in the purse. What you doing with a purse in the first place, nigga? You're canceled. I'm talking about what her name, Stacey Dash, that found out that your ass dead 10 years down the line. You've been dead 10 years, and she started waking up want to cry with her crazy ass. We canceling her ass too. We canceling everybody that got them part of the problem, because we trying to get to the root of this shit.
This dude is killing me. Freaking Stacey Dash just went viral again too, because she said something like, I'm not proud to be a black person, but I'm proud to be Mexican American and some shit like that. I don't want to misquote her, but it was something like that. And that went viral. Yeah. Stacey Dash.
Yeah, she's got some mental issues going on. Cause I mean, she done that cake soap shit. She done bleach her skin, and she's, like the last time I heard she did that whole, found out that DMX had died.
Yeah, that's what he was talking about in the video, and that shit was so funny. When the internet was making fun of her on that shit, I was.
But
man,
I really get what he's saying, is because like really we just sit back and as like all of this stuff that's entertainment, but like the seriousness of what's really going on, like this day and age, like if you keep allowing the bullshit to happen, the more it's gonna grow. The more they feel that, like, because I mean, we got to be more responsible. Like even with like the music that's like, I don't even really listen to, like, especially like the drill rap and this, that, and the other, because I can't relate to it. But so maybe the beat might be cool or whatever, and I end up hearing it because of the beat, or like I'm around younger crowd or something at the time. But like I don't relate to none of that, and like I don't let my son listen to that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? He might hear some stuff here and there because of we're around different people from time to time, but that's not really what he listens to. Like, but either way, like we keep allowing certain things to grow in our community that is really harmful to all of us, and that's a part of, like, some of the stuff that Kanye was saying, like, I'm gonna F your B and I'm gonna kill this ninja. Like that's the real anti-Semitic stuff that we should be paying attention to, and these people won't let you barely even say anything about them, and they say, regardless, you want to call them Semitic people too or whatever, but they have a standard that they allow or don't allow. We got to get to the point where we don't sit back when somebody calls somebody a ninja all over the place, and this, I'm gonna kill this, and like, we can't be sitting around like, oh, okay. And then we get mad along with, when, these people are canceling, we get upset, just as upset with them about stuff that's, we claim it that's happening to them instead of the stuff that's happening to us.
I'm telling you, that's insane. Insanity. That's so crazy.
And like those are the things that I'm taking. Like that's the part that I want to remember Kanye for, is him bringing, like him being the one to speak that, and it's like they trying to pass that message on widely, but people are so programmed and so triggered that whatever they want you to be triggered about and upset about, you fall for it instead of like what.
Cry for Ukraine. I saw somebody in the thing, they was like, nobody has, and I want to cover Haiti too, so I'm gonna do Haiti and China tomorrow. But nobody has the Haitian flag as their freaking
and these are your people,
picture.
right? These are people right here on the same landmass. Like we're going, like there's a bridge that runs from, like, I mean, these people are coming from South and Central America right into here. Like they're not everybody's not catching the boat here. Like they're walking. Like, and you know, coming from Haiti, coming from Puerto Rico, coming from Venezuela, all across South America, these people are able to walk here. These people are more connected to you than any, like these people, like even like, you know, we won't talk about even Africa because that's some stuff that, you know, we can, you know, some people might relate themselves to more, but Haitians are right here. Like a lot of us are Haitians, like based on history, like a lot of us come from that way. Like those are maybe cousins of ours.
Yeah, but when something happened in Europe that time, I don't remember, and everybody had the flag of the UK flag as their thing. And
France. It was something
France.
that happened something happened in France. Everybody's talking about, oh, you know, pray for France and you know, whatever. And like we had stuff going on in Puerto Rico that nobody give a shit about.
And every time, that's what it is. And it's like they tell you it's approved. You're approved to be outraged about this thing and that thing, and you're approved to cry about this country and that country, but it's not approved to cry about this country and that country, you know, and it's not approved to be outraged about this thing and that thing.
Exactly. And that's the part, like that's the part, like we're missing it. Like we're not really living right now. Like we're like so so programmed. Like they know how to get to you. They like the media, like people not realizing how strong this media is over people's lives, because it's like things that's really affects us way more than other shit. Like people on the other side of this fucking planet gets more recognition than the people who are directly connected to us.
Yeah.
This shit, I mean, even we talk about Chicago and shit like that. I mean, in LA, a lot of people not talking about all the stuff that's going on right there in California.
I'm telling you, man, it's so crazy. Right in your own cities, right here in Houston, Texas.
That too. But so as soon as they say, "Oh, pray for Ukraine, support Ukraine," you know, we're praying for France. Like you know, whatever it is that they tell you, now you're like, "Oh yeah, we got." Oh, I can't believe you don't care about France. It's like, well,
I'm telling you, that's what they say.
It's not like I don't care about France, but bro, like, are you paying attention to any other shit that's going on? Like, I didn't hear you talking that shit about, you know what I'm saying? Shit, I don't hear nobody talking about Mississippi.
Yeah.
People or Flint, like people still struggling, like dealing with trying to have clean water in the biggest cut. Like, y'all don't think that that's insane?
the dudes changed the water to the river to save money. Like he was like, "Nah, we're not gonna do no water treatment, and we're not gonna do none of that shit. We're just gonna run the water straight from the river up in there, and they could use that water. It should be fine, right? We're gonna filter it though, yeah."
Yeah, but I'm crazy. I'm the one that's fucking crazy.
It's mostly black people that live there, anyways. They'll be fine. Kids getting fucking mental disorders over time of drinking the water and shit, all fucked up. Let me play this. This is gonna be my last clip I'm gonna play.
In the book. And so how we're still getting away with this is really sad. It's actually like exposing of how like compliant we've been. We have been willing to give away the power that we were entrusted with, which is why the church looks the way that it does and why I'm so opposed to what we're doing. It's not because these overlords are powerful, it's because we have accepted powerlessness. The Bible actually defends your subjective, intuitive nature. The Bible supports, protects, endorses, and defends that you get to decide what's true in your life. What I just said is heretical in the evangelical church. But what I just said is biblical. We're going to talk about ethics down the road at some point. We have to separate morality from ethics, and we have to look at how these things are different and how the church functions versus how the Holy Spirit functions. Do you get to decide what's true objectively? No. But who gets to decide what's true in your life? We've been told pastors, the overlords, get to decide that for us. That's not biblical. It's not in the book. And so how we're still getting away with this is really sad. It's actually like exposing of how like compliant we've been. We have been willing to give away the power that we were entrusted with, which is why the church looks the way that it does and why I'm so opposed to what we're doing.
It's like whatever the pastor says is the truth. His interpretation of the Bible is what you're supposed to go by, and otherwise you're blasphemy. You know, you don't have the knowledge of the pastor. You haven't studied as long as he has. You know, so you better just listen to him, and whatever he says, that's what the word of God is.
Look, just because I'm gonna tell you, yeah. All right, no, I was ordained by the state, but I was before that I was ordained by God, and God sent me here to make sure that my people, my people, that I lead y'all out of darkness, and people fall for this shit. People fall for it all the time, and I'm not, look, there's pastors, great pastors, people who not really trying to get all of your money. Like, they focus on their little small communities, and like they have jobs, like like in my my hometown, I got a few of them. And I'm sure there's a lot like that around the country, but we got to really be careful about who we're accepting these, like the word from, like, and not studying for ourselves. Like,
That's the key. That's the key. So everybody is ignorant and not aware and don't take the time, and they're just we're getting led by strong men and straw men and what we want to call them, demagogues, and it's because I like this guy, hey, I like him,
it's a popularity contest. Like, I mean, you just think about a lot of people go to Osteen's church, and what's the dude in Dallas, what's the black dude in Dallas,
Don't give me the line, bro.
Yeah, I forget his name right now. You know who I'm talking about, but
I'm sure I do, but I can't think of it.
But however, like, because these people are popular, they're known around the world. They just say people want to go to their church because of that, or they're trying to network so that they can build their business up. Like, that, to me, that's freaking blasphemy. You know what I'm saying? That's what I would call blasphemy, because you're not going there for the right reason, and then like being ashamed of asking questions about things you don't understand about the book and the scripture, and questioning is like, well, look, when I read it, I got this. Like, let's not necessarily have a debate, but even me trying to have a discussion with you. You kind of make it a problem. Like, I'm supposed to just shut the hell up and whatever you say goes. And I don't really operate like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a man, you're a man. We can have this discussion, and maybe we can meet in the middle. Maybe you see something different than you saw before, and you realize that okay, you know what? I can see that, and you've grown to be able to talk to other people, like to be able to express this to others. So I mean, that's really what this really, like us as people can share. Like, we can't be afraid that, because somebody has a position that they actually are more, they have the position because they campaigned for it, and that's, that's their position. But it still doesn't make them better, smarter, wiser, none of that.
Yeah.
So we can't be afraid to speak up and be what God actually made us to be. We don't have to hold that title, but we do still have a responsibility. You know what I'm saying? If we see some bullshit going on, we got to speak up about it. Can't just sit there and, it's because, well, that's such and such. I can't tell them that. No,
You're always making excuses.
Yeah, that's the ones you really need to tell. Those are the ones that need to get checked. Let you know, look, don't come over here playing with my people, because everybody in that church is your people too.
Yeah, because I went to church with someone before, and the pastor said something, and then I looked it up, and it's like the people sitting next to me was looking at me like, "What the hell is you doing?" Like, wait a minute. I'm like, ain't that what you're supposed to do? Like,
exactly.
but because like, hey, I want to understand it better, so let me look up what he's talking about. Like, but they was looking at me all weird, like.
Well, because see, when I'm in church, I write notes. They give up certain verses or whatever. I write it down so I can go back to it later. Like, that's the way I was trained in church coming. When I was a kid. So, if it's certain things, okay. If I don't have a notebook, I'll just make that mental note. Okay, it was such and such, and then when I go back, okay, this is the one that he said. And I kind of look at it or whatever. Okay, in a lot of cases, like, I probably, might agree, but there's like, well, I'm confused about it. I'll ask. Like, that's the thing. Like, you can't just accept every little thing that everybody, because like, you're gonna get taken if you know what I'm saying, if that's the
and you don't understand everything, because sometimes, like, I feel like I've learned a lot of things, but the dude say something I didn't know, and I'd be like, okay, I need to let me look at this.
I mean, stay humble, because you're not going to be right about everything, but that's the reason why you should be able to question what somebody else has said and compare it against what you might have believed, and like, it gives you an opportunity to grow. Like, that's it's as simple as that. I mean, but we can't keep being a passive people and think that things are going to change for us, keep allowing life to happen to us instead of us actually living life.
And that's what it keeps coming back to. And that's what he said in this clip that stuck out to me, is he said, we have accepted powerlessness. That's it.
Each individual person has a power. Like, we have, what I'm saying? Like, is everyone supposed to be the this totally recognized person that from this across the world? No, but we all play a position. We all have that thing that if we come together, we all start acting on different things, we can actually see a world that like what we imagine at one day that would be so great that we might actually see it. But nothing comes from inactiveness. Nothing is something that's never going to come from nothing.
Nothing from nothing, leave nothing. Had to do something.
I
can punch you in the mouth. I'm thinking about the Eddie Murphy. I think that was off of Delirious. It's freaking hilarious. Oh man. Yeah, I'm gonna have to wrap it because I gotta take Kenzie to school in the morning. I work tomorrow. I work a double. I need to take my ass to sleep.
For sure, man. I'm gonna do the same. I'm in, bro. It's freaking snow. It's not snowing now, but it was snowing this evening, bro.
Where were you? Where?
Well, I'm in Colorado. Like, I'm like right on the edge of, like, I'm maybe 50, 60 miles north of New Mexico. So I'm like southern Colorado.
They said it's supposed to be a really cold winter. They were talking about the Farmer's Almanac is predicting a really cold winter for the crops and stuff. protect your crops.
Please prepare. Like, look, there's people like, I know that there's some insidious people, like there's some evil people in this world, and we have to realize that some of them happen to be our politicians and people that's in control of us. And to try to get control over you, they'll try to deny you of certain things just to try to get you to comply with their bullshit. So y'all need to find other ways that y'all can protect yourselves no matter what's going on. Like storing food, having heaters that you can, like plug, you know what I'm saying? Like finding other energy sources that you can create on your own. Whatever that might be, whatever makes the most sense for you. But like,
yeah, like canning and shit. Let me see. Where is that shit? I must have been on a different profile when I was watching that shit. I was watching a series of videos with this guy who was he talks about living off grid and how to do it. A lot of that stuff is super interesting to me. Is because it's like we was talking about in one of the shows about living outside of the matrix, and then we were saying that you can't really get outside of the matrix.
Well,
but it's
you can, but I mean, it's not gonna happen overnight. And I mean, we gotta think about like, why did because I would say like my grandmother, even like my aunts and stuff did a lot of it too. But like over time, like it's been like almost not non-existent now. But the lifestyle that we had before, because like, I mean, shoot, you can really have food stored up. You can, get your mason jars and like even leftover stuff that instead of, throwing stuff away or this, that, and the other, like start putting that stuff in mason jars and, even especially if you got like the machine that takes the air out of it where you can make that stuff last, like you can create your own food. It don't have to be, what I'm saying? Like it's different things that you could be doing now that you can have for later, like things you can put away. And when that day comes, even if that day doesn't come, like, I mean, it's just a good way to start trying to operate, because like I said, I mean, you make spaghetti, the sauce that's left over that, like, all right, I'm gonna throw it away, I'm gonna give it to this person, I'm gonna do that. Like you can start putting them in mason jars, and like instead of having to cook the whole big meal again, pull out that mason jar and heat it up, and like you got that meal already. Like we got to start thinking differently.
Because they want us so reliant on the government and the corporations. That's the reason why the like off-grid living, the tiny house living or whatever is like damn near illegal. You have to be paying some kind of bills.
Well, and that's the part, like if y'all don't see like
taxes.
A lot of that too. But I mean, the thing is more so that they want to control you. Like they want control over your entire life. Like the things that you feel like, okay, you can choose for yourself. No, you don't. Nah, they want to choose it for you. And they're steadily prepping you, like with them wanting to force this whole electric economy, like everybody on electricity, is because they can control that, like the computers, like they can shut you down. Like, I mean, you can get you an electric car. Some of them are pretty cool, but I wouldn't, I want me a hoopty too. You know what I'm saying? I can still be mobile when everything is said and done. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I want to play a little bit of this since you're talking about this off-grid living and the canning and stuff. Like this guy is talking about how the USDA is banning canning lids, and there's a certain lid and it costs more, the metal lids, and they're not reusable. But there's a big company that has like a monopoly on that one, and they don't really want competition. So it's a different lid that's reusable and cheaper that they don't want you to use. And
you see, you think this is just happenstance?
So let me play.
Yeah, a lot of people think that that's just something that, oh, well, I mean, it just is what it is. No, this is a plan. It's a plot.
It's a design. It's,
Don't
you know,
like, please, y'all. Like I know, like a lot of us are not gonna make it, but the ones
let me play some of this.
Go ahead.
Game may actually ban canning at home. I'll get to that in a minute. But as you can see, I've canned some chicken, and I've used Tadler lids. Tadler lids are plastic lids that have two pieces on it. You have the white cap, and then you have a little gasket that goes in between the cap and the jar. And I like them a lot. They're reusable. Regular lids, they're pretty expensive when you really start breaking down the cost. A lot of people will reuse regular lids, but you're not supposed to. They're designed to fail the second time, as a matter of fact. That way you'll buy more. But Tadler lids, they'll last up to 10 years, according to the back of the box, or up to 10 years, something like that. But on YouTube and Google, they always say 10 uses. Now, the cap is always good to use. It's the little O-ring that you have to buy. You can buy a dozen of those for like, $9. It's not very much. Now, what's funny is maybe you can see that these over here are still boiling. Now, the reason they're boiling is because it's under a vacuum. And the more the vacuum, the lower the boiling point. So I can touch that. It may be 120 degrees. So it's still boiling, even at 120 degrees. What's worrisome, and I always worry about these, is the ones that don't come out boiling. Those bother me. I mean, I've had some fail. Maybe one out of every batch is not sealed. But even metal lids will do that. You'll see metal lids boiling on some and others not. The difference is on the metal lids, you'll get that satisfying little pop. You know, they all pop. So then you know they've sealed when they've come out of the canner. But you can't tell with these plastic lids. There's just really no way to tell until you actually unscrew it. I kind of press on them and I feel like they should be sealing because there's no flex in it.
So yeah, it's not that hard to do stuff like that. And have some stored up stuff ready to go.
Yeah.
So I was just notified that I'm going to be evicted from our home. This home is paid for. There is nothing that I owe anything. All the taxes are paid up. Then I'm going to be evicted. I like sitting out here on the porch on a rainy day. If you haven't ever seen, I have see-through ceiling, roof, whatever you want to call it. Of course, in the summertime, all this is shaded by the trees. But I sure do like that. You can buy that stuff from Home Depot. So to give you a little history, background on this thing, this is actually kind of a complicated story, so I'll try to be as detailed as possible without dragging this on forever. So a couple years ago, we bought this property. I guess we're coming up on 3 years now. We bought it for $4,200. There was a trailer frame here. That's what this house sits on, is that original trailer frame, mobile home trailer frame, and extended all the way out to those cedar trees back there. Well, we cut it down. We took all the trailer mobile home off. It was all falling down. And if you ever want to see that, you can go to my YouTube channel. And right there at the top, it'll be the first day on off-grid or something like that. It's the intro video to my channel. And you'll see the mobile home. It was all falling down. So this is the trailer, the infamous trailer. It's a mobile home that has been demolished. As a matter of fact, when Google Earth drove by a couple years ago, there was more here than what there is now. I have looked for the sewer pipe the best I could, and so far I have not seen anything that resembles a sewer pipe, but there is a lot of sewer drains over probably 9 months. So we were living in the camper. We took the camper off the back of the truck, and that's down the hill. And I was building the tiny house. Well, we started with the floor, and that was real early. We got started on the floor. We used a lot of materials from the trailer that got us started on the floor. We were able to use all those 2x4s. And a lot of this was material that we were able to buy.
Man, I know I'm boring y'all to death. I wanted to get to the part where he talked about them people calling on him. Anyways, it doesn't matter. It was the people calling the people because he has a YouTube channel. He does a lot of videos. Somehow the people figured out where he was at, and they're sending the police over there to get him evicted and shit.
It's insane,
that was the story.
Because I mean, that's the part that I'm tripping on. Is like, all right, he's paid up on all. He says he's paid up on his taxes. He owns it. He doesn't have a mortgage, but he can still be evicted. Like that's the book. Like that's the shit I be talking about. Like that's why I separated myself from the United States. That kind of shit right there. There's other protections out there for us, but we gotta, we gotta explore that. Like I live just like everybody else. I do shit just like everybody else, but legally, I'm not a part of all of that. So, just something for y'all to think about. So, y'all want more questions? I mean, I'll be inactivated. So if y'all, those that's a part of it, I'll be more than happy to answer those questions.
See, I'm not just crazy. Look, all the comments are kind of saying what I was saying. It says some people are so unhappy with their lives that they want to drag everyone else into their misery.
Yeah.
It says another comment, it says, sounds to me like this guy who sent the email is sticking his nose where it does not belong, where it is not wanted, and where it could get in trouble. This guy is trying to take on your responsibilities, and it's none of his business. You and Carolyn are totally responsible people and taking total responsibility for every area of your own lives. This emailer just needs to quit being a Karen and leave you alone.
Yeah.
It says, I find it absolutely disgusting how people try to bring trouble into others' lives. The world is full of idiots like the ones you were describing. So glad I found you on YouTube. Yeah, man, I'm kind of happy I found this page too. I'll probably play some more of his stuff in the future.
Okay.
Anyways, I'm gonna have to wrap it.
I'm with you, bro. I'm getting there. I'm about to pass out soon. But yeah, man. Great show.
Peace and love. Yeah.
Peace and love, man.
Thank y'all for joining. Thank y'all for listening.
Amen. Hey, support the channel.
Yeah, do that.
Did you put is it on the screen? Yeah. Like support the channel. Like we need y'all.
Yes.
We're gonna keep bringing it and giving it to you, but we need that ability to do so. So
yes, it costs money to do this show.
Thank y'all in advance.
All right, man. Peace and love. Y'all have a good night.